Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back here to talk about another round of Kid Nation on the RHAP Rewind as we are taking a look at the 2007 series Kid Nation in 5 installments. This here is number 3. If you've missed either part 1 or part 2, go to robinswebsite.com/KidNation1 or KidNation2 to hear our first 2 installments. But we are back here once again to talk about all of the political maneuverings, everything going on with the environment, and much more in Bonanza City here with my co-host. Please welcome back the great Phil Thompson. Phil, how are you?
What's up, Rob? I'm doing okay. I just spent the last 30 minutes, just like cleaning my room, out of the kindness of my heart, just because I'm a good person, not because I want to win a gold star or anything like that.
Yes. Okay. Did you make up any potatoes for us here today?
Yeah, fried potatoes. They cost, $2 though. $2 for a fried potato, in case you guys want any.
It's well worth it. I'm so excited here today because we have a great guest to talk about Kid Nation with that I had asked this person to join us. We have not recently on the podcast that we do together watched many TV shows together recently. So I thought, well, why not get somebody here to help us watch 3 episodes, 5, 6, 7 of Kid Nation. He is a man with 3.5 podcasts and 4 kids. Please welcome the co-host of Rob and Akiva Need a Podcast, the great Akiva Wienerkur. Akiva, how are you?
Rob, it's been so long since we've spoken.
Yeah.
What an honor to be on, a non-RAANAP podcast on the main feed.
It's been a minute.
I have to, it has. I was trying to think the last time I was on one. It's been a while, but I also have to say, thank you for making me watch 7 episodes of the show today.
I know. You had to take a break from Among Us playing to watch 7 hours of Kid Nation, but we appreciate it.
And luckily it was worth it, right?
Yeah.
I didn't realize, you were like, hey, do you want to come on next week? I'm like, sure. I remember watching Kid Nation. I liked the show at the time. I'll probably have takes on it. But I didn't realize, it's like an hour show. The first episode is very long. Because I probably could have come on and pretend that I watched the first 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Do you think you would have caught me had I done that?
I don't think so. I wouldn't have called you out on it. What are you talking about, Akiva? Mike didn't say that.
Mm-hmm. I probably could have got away with it, especially if I read the Wikipedia stuff. But I went the other direction. I watched all 7 episodes. I only didn't finish it, A, because I ran out of time, and B, because then I would have maybe accidentally spoiled stuff.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, no, I don't remember 90% of it, and I'm not sure I made it the whole way either back in 07.
Okay.
But yeah, I did a deep dive on where everyone is now. And
okay.
I'm all in.
Great. Very Beautiful. Excited. And even if you're not, deal with it. Isn't that the best comeback to anything?
It's a great catchphrase.
It's perfect for just, holding political power. No matter what, you can just say, deal with it. And then everyone else has to deal with it. I guess that's just the rules.
Yeah, boy. I think that we're going to find some correlations between life in Bonanza City and life in America in 2021 here as we take a look at these 3 episodes.
Yeah, really. We cover, the environment, we're covering greed. Of course, political corruption is the biggest thing. It's the perfect time to be watching Kid Nation right now. Just watch the transition of power.
I don't know how much of a microcosm for society Bonanza City was in 2007, but it hits different here in 2021. Kid Nation.
It's ahead of its time, right? There's a lot of capitalism talk sort of in this episode, not directly, but it certainly is an important issue. And this one of the episodes today, I think in particular, right, where we rank the presidents, and one of them calls George W. Bush a dummy. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. You know.
All right. So we're going to talk about all this. Very, very excited. Episodes 5, 6, 7. And episode 5 is entitled Viva la Revolution. And we are talking about politics in Kid Nation. We are going to have a re-election for all of the incumbent town council members. And Phil, this got wild.
Yeah, it really did. Because, you start the season with, they give us 4 leaders. There's no election. There's no choice that anybody has. Yeah. And so we're kind of wondering, where is this going to go? And then this is the episode where all that boiling frustration of, the last 2 weeks we've been talking about this show has totally built up. And now, the lid has flown off and the kids are starting an uprising. The kids are pissed.
Now, Akiva, did you watch these episodes with your family?
No, it would have been too much. My wife got too mad if I all right, everyone sit down. We're watching 7, 6 hours basically of Kid Nation today. I tried to. It was overruled. So the kids could actually do Zoom school and stuff.
Yeah. Did you have any takes coming in about the core 4?
Well, yeah. First of all, I do think this show does a decent line compared to a lot of other heavy-handed overproduced reality shows of not really stepping in, which sometimes shows that slower things happen, more Married at First Sight, or shows that are a little bit slower and less The Bachelor.
Do you watch that show?
I've seen it, but but it's boring, and that's how you know that it's not super overproduced.
Today. Yeah,
it's very boring, but at times, but that also shows that not everything is scripted versus a show where every second is scripted, maybe some of the Real Housewives or The Bachelor, and I think they do it here, but when they by them choosing the core 4, it didn't make any sense to me, because they should have immediately had what shows like Survivor have done, and have an immediate election for each of the 4 groups of 10 pick a captain or a leader immediately. Yeah. Instead of the producers picking the most interesting people, even though they probably whiffed on a couple of them.
Yeah, I would say, Phil, if we were going to go back and then redraft the core 4 of people that they came in with, I mean, they certainly, they 10 out of 10, they nailed it on Taylor. But what about the other 3? Mike, Anjay, and Laurel as the original leaders.
Yeah, well, I think we talked a little bit about this earlier, where I have a general confusion of why they chose Mike. He's funny, he's good TV, but I don't know if he's the Taylor vein, and I feel
he's so high strung.
He's just that's the amazing thing about Kid Nation is, especially in this part, these 3 episodes that we watched, these kids are slowly morphing into just really pissed off adults in a way. They just have grown frustrations. But I see why they picked Laurel. Laurel's not the greatest TV, but also she's better than a lot of the kids. And I think Laurel is a fantastic leader. And, Anjay is another person where, he's very smart, and he knows his presidents and everything like that, but I'm not sure if he was a good choice for the leader. Maybe that's where the drama comes in, but, I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So we go to our Pioneer Journal. The winds of change are blowing in Bonanza City. Time for district elections. Each district is going to have to go ahead and elect a new leader. Akiva, do you think that they should have switched up the districts in addition to choosing new leaders?
I guess they could have. I do think it's confusing. So one of my issues with the show in general is they obviously chose too many kids, right? There's 40 kids on the show. Is a completely insane decision. I know that you want to make it it seem like it's a town, and I'm sure they had this discussion, but I don't see how you go higher than, say, 24. Because even, you watch reality shows and they'll have, The Bachelor or Bachelorette maybe starts with 30, but they're down to a much lower number than that by the end of the first night. Survivor, if they start at 20, nobody knows, who's who the first couple of weeks, if they're new players. 40 is crazy because there are people who will never get a confessional or I think there's 2 or 3 of the 40 that never speak on camera during the series. There's too many people. So now if you're talking about mixing up the teams, I think it's still too early, even though we're, over halfway done by the end of tonight.
Yeah. Phil, do you think they thought more kids would leave?
Yeah, no, well, I actually don't know if they really wanted any kids to leave. They never know. But I actually think that 40 people for this show is the perfect amount because, who really cares if we meet all of them? You know what I mean? I just want to meet the main, and also from a casting perspective, I feel like they didn't really know, okay, this kid is going to be good. He's going to pop on TV, she's going to do good after 30 days of just starving, So it was good that they, picked 40 kids and they said, all right, at least 10 of these kids are going to pop. At least, as long as we get some people that are good, who cares? And, I know it sucks to sometimes not see people, in a confessional and stuff like that, but if you're boring, you're boring. You know, it's good that we were given an option of some kind of sort.
Okay, so we're going to hear some new campaign speeches from people they're working on overthrowing their own incumbent district leaders. So the only person that's going to run unopposed is Laurel. She's going to be fine. Phil, were you surprised?
No, not at all. That's the thing. That's how amazing Laurel is. Just like, and I keep going back to this, but like if this was Survivor, you know, I think Laurel would be one of my winner picks. You know, This episode also is very, you know, strategic. And I think, you know, even the way that Laurel, because, you know, after they announce there's going to be a re-election, Laurel brings her entire team into the room and they're like, and she literally says, does anyone want to oppose me? And, you know, I think it's kind of like a little bit of a power move where it's like, you know, is anyone going to step up? No, because I'm the greatest, you know, and I think she does a great job at that.
Yeah. Akiva, is this maybe more akin to getting primaried here for these other district leaders?
I think it's a lot like that. It's also interesting that they only allow one person. You know, there's a lot of, I guess, behind the scenes, like producer machinations here, but like, they only allow one person to primary, like you say, the town council members, which, I mean, with 10 people and everyone voting for themselves, the three or more people in an election would get very, very silly, probably, where you could win with like a block of, you know, 3 or 4. But I think, I also think because, spoiler, the other 3 winners are guys, they were probably like, all right, we need a woman. Nobody's going up against Laurel. We can't have like four men knock out women, basically, or, you know, end up with 4 guys on the town council. We need a little bit more balance. No one's going up against Laurel, guys.
I wonder if there was like some kind of logic in, you know, the idea that, you know, because the team leaders they can't award themselves gold stars. So I'm wondering if there's some kids that were maybe, you know, thinking about it and then were like, you know what, but I could still win a gold star. Maybe I won't be a leader. You know what I mean? I feel like that might also have gone into the kids' heads, but they probably was like primaried by producers.
Yeah. It's a very good point by Phil also, because in hindsight, I'm sure every kid who was on the show who, after they get off the show, if they realize like, hey, I was, you know, half the time or the whole time I was one of the town council members, I was essentially never eligible to win the gold star. It's really, especially if you're a public person, like all those people, had they stepped down, except for maybe like a Taylor, you know, had a real shot probably at winning gold star if they were just in the town. So you're really costing yourself like $20,000 by, you know, just for like a little bit of extra screen time.
Yeah, emergent gameplay for Kid Nation.
Yeah, I'm sure they all regretted it. Their parents came home and they were like, "Oh, I'm going to be on TV." And, you know, I was in town council. I was like, what do you get to do? Like, well, I got to tell them to go to sleep at 9:30. By the way, everyone in my bunk won $20,000 except for me.
Right.
And I was the one that gave it to them.
So in the red district, Mike is going to get primaried here by Guylan. Guylan, I do not recall Guylan appearing in the first 4 episodes of the series. Phil, did Guylan have any plot before this?
He had no plot. I remember we saw him once. I think he was also just complaining about Mike or something like that. But I think that's the beauty about Kid Nation. We were talking about how it was like Lost earlier, where, you know, people kind of come in and out. Like suddenly Guylan's going to be a character in the show. Yeah. And, you know, after that, you know, maybe he might drift off again. But that's kind of the beauty of it. Yeah. You guys like Guylan? What do you guys think?
I like him. I like his look. I like his headband. He comes out. He's kind of a populist. He's like, hey, I'm the man of the people. Unlike Mike.
Yeah, it is funny. I went to Guylan's, I looked all these people up on social media after. Yeah. And Guylan, I feel like he's still like the same guy. He's like, Republicans suck and Democrats suck. Like, just listen to me. He was like, by the way, I do have a game for you, you guys, after this called, Who Did Everyone on Kid Nation Vote For? We could play that at the end.
Oh, wow.
I'm joking. We won't actually do that. But yeah, I do. Phil's right. I don't believe Guylan has spoke maybe more than one word. And that is one of the interesting things on the show. Like, we will meet people the entire series in basically every episode who you've never seen.
But
before.
He's everywhere now. He's like a new lead on the show.
He becomes a main character. I'm curious because like you know that the show had to have some hand in like who are going to be the town council, because they're so much bigger of a part of the show than pretty much, you know, all the other 36 and co are like fighting for screen time. It seems questionable at first, but I feel like by the end of these 3 episodes, it makes sense why Guylan's there.
Okay.
Yeah. I wonder if you were boring on TV, would the producers just be like, no, you're not going to become team leader, regardless of what you want. You're not going to, that's not a choice for you.
All right. Over in the Blue District, Anjay is going to get challenged by Olivia. And Phil, Olivia seems to really hate Anjay for some reason.
Oh, well, I think that's watching Olivia find out like a perfect way to piss Anjay off and Anjay just not being able. I think Anjay needs to go to like anger management or something like that. Like, I remember we got a scene where, Anjay, after Olivia, announces that she's going to oppose Anjay, Anjay's getting really stressed out about it, and Anjay's in the kitchen, like literally staring at the corner. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, ugh, leave me alone right now. I need time to think. And then she just comes up to him and she's like, okay, Anjay, I'm running against you, just so you know. And she walks away and he's like, shut up. Like he just is she knows exactly how to get to him. It's pretty hilarious to just watch Anjay, scared in his boots for a little bit.
How disappointed do you think Olivia, because Olivia is the older sister to Mallory, right? I believe they're the only siblings here.
Yeah.
And Mallory's already won a gold star in an episode you guys talked about last week, right?
Yeah.
Mallory's much younger. Olivia, I don't know how old she is, but Mallory's like one of the younger.
They're like 12 and 8,
there.
I think is like the age difference.
12 and 8, yeah. And like Olivia gets like one of the biggest villain edits of the whole series, right? She's like, has no real reason to hate Anjay. She just hates him even when he like offers like, a peace offering here. She's like F you basically immediately. So I like her sister's coming home with, a positive edit and 20 grand, and Olivia is like a complete failure to her parents.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. I think Anjay is not, he's smart, but I don't think he's the greatest leader. I remember earlier in the episode, we got, Anjay waking everybody up, and he literally just went into everyone's room and he was like, if you don't get up in 15 minutes, I'm going to get the megaphone and I'm going to yell at you.
Yeah, they're like, what megaphone? Where are you getting a megaphone from?
The town council also has no power, right? That's one of their issues.
Yeah, they're
toothless. And it's really Taylor's issue is like they are toothless. Like there's no way. It's not like the old school real world where they can like vote someone out, which would be an interesting thing. But I think because they're kids, they don't do it. Like there's no real mechanism. I'm sure if somebody was unsafe, but like to get rid of someone who's completely useless, like Taylor can just never do anything, and she could stay if she wants.
Mm-hmm. And in the Yellow District, we have a big-time matchup. All eyes are on Yellow District because Zach, who's really come alive here in the last episode or so, from out of nowhere, we didn't know him in the first couple episodes, but here he is, and he is going to step to Taylor. And he's got a big speech for Taylor, and he ultimately is going to talk about how she's not working, and he turns things around on her and says, and Taylor, if you don't like it, in your own words, deal with it. And everybody goes nuts. The crowd is going wild. Taylor was not impressed.
Yeah, that was a good speech, but it's not the best I've ever heard.
Yeah, wasn't the best ever.
Yeah, Taylor, I mean, she's so stuck in her ways. She's never gonna, think anything. If someone's criticizing her, she's not gonna agree with it. Zach in this episode, he looks kind of like Andrew Cuomo's like nephew or something like that. He kind of has that look to him. I don't know. And Zach's speech too, he was kind of just like pacing around. He was really working the room. He knows how to get to these people.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, Zach did a good job. It reminded me of he was doing like a monologue in like a kid's like school play or something like that, I don't know.
Yeah. Akiva, Zach was really like a perfect candidate to run against Taylor.
Yeah, I do love the Zach candidacy, and he even gets like the fun music behind him, like the uplifting music as he's giving the speech. They make it seem like it's the greatest speech in this world. It does like peter out a little bit, but it is really good. And of course, Taylor's basically like, her speech is like, F you guys, I'm staying president because I have the votes. We never found out what happened in case of a tie, because it could have easily been 5-5, right? I think it was an equal amount of boys and girls there. I don't know if tie goes to the town council.
Well, Taylor feels confident because she has her other pageant girls, and she feels like that she has like this voting block. So it's sort of like, okay, well, I have the majority in the Yellow District, so I'm bulletproof. You can't do anything to me, and I'm going to be able to still beat Taylor. I'll let Taylor be Taylor, and she's going to just do her own thing, and there's nothing that Zach can do about it.
Yeah, that's kind of like the one thing I really liked about this episode in particular is that there was kind of like a little bit of like wheeling and dealing where the kids are like, all right, I got my numbers, you know. It's like watching these kids, you know, I feel like some of them also have probably like seen Survivor before and they're like, all right, you know, Taylor, yeah, the way Taylor was talking about her alliance was like, you know, I got my 5 and, you know, 5 versus 4 is out or whatever, you know. So she's thinking, you know, I'm going to be able to totally clench this no matter what.
Yeah, I have in my notes, Zach reads Taylor to filth in front of the group.
You know, all these speeches, though, they were like, even Zach's, everybody's was just like, I'm going to do better. I'm the best. And I know the people. That's what they all were. Like, no one was really reinventing the wheel with any of these political speeches, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Why were they all doing so bad till now? Like every speech was, I'm going to do better. I'm actually going to do some work now. I guess there was like no incentive for the, especially with no gold stars, for the town council members to actually pitch in.
Yeah. All right. So let's get to our showdown in this episode. Akiva, you like the showdowns?
I think they're fine. I'm not super invested really in who is the upper class and who the merchants are and everything like that. I think the competitions themselves sometimes are good. And the reward part after it is usually interesting, even though, spoiler alert, the kids, as of the end of this episode, have still never picked the fun thing, right? They've only, the producers must have been shocked. They have not made a practical decision. They've only made the practical decision so far, right? They have not picked the fun thing yet.
Not yet.
Their parents are watching.
Yeah. What are they doing with these kids? Phil, they didn't give these kids toothbrushes that they have like basically like they have like a handful of like baking soda and they're just like shoving it in their mouth?
I guess, yeah. I wasn't even thinking about the fact that they like. Why can't they bring toothbrushes?
Kids drink soda all day long. That's all they do for fun in this town. No, they couldn't like. Oh no, it won't be faithful to Bonanza City if we give these kids some scope.
Yeah, like, I don't care if these kids brush their teeth or not. Like, let them brush their teeth. It's okay. You know, I'm not, like, concerned about the authenticity of, you know, preserving Bonanza City. You know, yeah, it's totally fine. Yeah. I don't care.
Every one of these kids needs to win a $20,000 gold star for the emergency dental proceedings that will need to go on after 40 straight days of Coca-Cola on their unwashed teeth.
Root beer.
Root beer. Yeah, is it beer?
There's no, like... Yeah, no, there's no like dental class or anything like that either. Like, there's no way that, you know, they're going to be doing checkups on each other or anything like that. Like, you know,
you think the high class should have gotten a toothbrush?
I think so.
Yeah, at least everybody would have got a turn properly at some point to brush their teeth.
It makes more sense. There should be like a more pampered place for the higher class to live. I think that makes sense for the structure of the show.
Because
really everything looks the same. I don't know. Are they even like sleeping in separate bunks? That's not even clear to me where everyone's sleeping. It's just, I know it's separated by boys and girls, but are there 8 different bunks? Like every color,
I think so.
Yeah. So
I think it's 8 different because, you know, boys and girls are split up. But yeah, like, that is a good point, Akiva. There should be like an HOH room. Like, upper class should really be like live in it, you know, like they get paid, but like we never really care about how much money they get paid, really. So it's just like, you know, yeah, they should totally. There should be like people coming in giving them like massages or something like that. Like it should be all out.
Maybe not massages. Maybe no massages for
something.
The
I don't know. Something.
Yeah,
but what if they were child masseuse? Yeah. By the way, that's another of my takes.
Maybe
the host should be a kid.
Yeah,
the host should be a kid.
Yeah, the host is bad, right, Akiva?
I mean, I watched 7 episodes of the show today, and if you gave me 4 choices for his name,
Jonathan,
I could not. I wouldn't. I would. It would be 25. I would have a 25% chance of getting it. He's not atrocious. He just very much blends into the scenery.
He's very stiff.
He's very stiff. He's not actively bad, but he's not good at all. And I mean, he literally, and this is partially the producer's part. I mean, they literally have him say the exact same things every single
kids.
Yeah.
Here's what we're doing for the showdown today.
Like, even verbatim, the like, it's worth its weight in gold thing. He gives the same speech every single week.
It's 2 pounds and it's worth its weight in gold.
It just makes me think about like how much better like Jeff Probst obviously is. Like, not to jump ahead, but like when they announced the barbecue, you know, Jeff Probst would have been like chicken, hot dogs, sizzling burgers, you know, and he's like, you guys have a barbecue.
No, Phil, this is what he called it.
It's a political party.
That's the way to get kids to pick it.
Get it? Kids? Because this is the politics episode.
Yeah, it's like that's like kindergarten logic of like, when I was in kindergarten, that's what I thought like a political party was, like the 4th of July or something like that. Like that's why they set up the piñatas and stuff. That was so ridiculous.
Yeah, they set up the piñatas and then they had to go out and then go collect like president trading cards, and then you had like one person at the end who had to put the cards in order. Akiva, would you have been able to do this? Could you put 7 presidents in order?
I mean, they all got Bush 1 and Bush 2, so like they really only had to do 5 in order.
Yeah.
So there's the only, and usually like the first couple, like Washington or whatever, or someone at the very beginning, they would know. So there's really only like one mistake you could make. Usually, it's usually like, all right, who was first? Truman or Roosevelt or something. Like it's really just in that middle. I could have done most of them, but I don't know every president in order.
Yeah. Phil, would you have been able to do this?
I would have tried, and I think I would have been okay. You got the Bushes, you get George Washington, Lincoln, you get some of the main ones. You can kind of figure it out from there. And, I'm surprised not surprised, because some of these kids are just brilliant. Like, Andre knows them. Like, Zach knows them. Like, so these kids, like, this is, like, if they're going to know anything, like, kids should know the presidents, or, like, prodigy, smart kids should, So it's good.
This would have been tough.
Figure it out.
This would have been tough. Yeah. Was it Andre who was so good at this that he earned this slam?
But just because he knows he's president doesn't mean he's the best leader. I mean, look at George W. Bush. He's not smart at all, but he won the U.S. president 2 times in a row.
Yeah. Akiva, you think George W. Bush was watching this and hearing like these 10-year-old girls make fun of him? And he's like, hey, not cool.
That's a weird part about being president, right? you got little kids roasting on TV. The better question is, could George W. Bush or most presidents do the presidents in order? Like you gave him 7 cards. Probably not.
I bet there are some that could do it. I mean, that's a long list to do it in order.
It's a long list, and also I feel like there's probably a lot of pictures up in their house. They're probably being reminded of them a lot.
Yeah, probably. It was also Zach, but like, and that's the thing. Like, Zach being able to figure out exactly where the presidents were. Of course, it doesn't really matter, but it was a good look for him. It's good for, everyone to be like, all right, Zach knows his presidents. He might be able to do this. I don't know.
Yeah, that wasn't going to come from Taylor also.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, she loves Bush. And we all know, I mean, we don't know who she voted for, but we have an idea.
So, all right. Decision time, kids. All right. We're going to have 2 options. The kids, they got the thing done in enough time. So they get, okay, behind door number 1, burgers, hot dogs, a political party. Okay. We got a real barbecue ready to go. Or we have dental hygiene, toothbrushes and toothpaste. Akiva, what would you have selected?
I obviously take the burger in that situation. I think that it's really, there's almost nothing that's happened in the first 7 episodes where I'm taking the practical thing over except for the bathrooms. Like, the bathroom situation was so bad, I get it. We don't know where they shower also, right? I don't think we've learned that, if they have like actual showers, because they just have porta potties for bathrooms at this point, I think.
Phil, do you know anything about this?
I don't. Actually, I don't remember an interview or anything. Yeah, ask Melissa. I mean, they probably are they showering, to be honest? Like, if they're washing their clothes, I hope they're showering. Yeah, I don't know.
You know who was really pumped up for the barbecue was Mike. That he really wanted the barbecue. They select the dental health.
With the dental health.
No.
Yeah, Taylor was really, she was like, we can have meat whenever we want. And then Mike's like, we actually can't. And then she's like, kill a chicken. Knowing that Mike is not killing no chicken. Mike's not killing a chicken.
Yeah. I do think every single time Taylor was team fun in terms of what the prize should be. I don't think any time, Akiva, did she ever vote for the practical thing.
Taylor's shtick is that she's always, it could be like letters from Taylor's parents, and she'd be like, all right, let's get the Dune buggies. By the way, I was on Taylor's Instagram page.
Yes.
And she just got engaged.
Yes,
like,
we did. Yeah, we covered that last time out.
The top quotes are gold star energy, and she said, yes, deal with it. Still 13 years later, dealing with this stuff.
Wait, Akiva, going back to what you said earlier, you take the fun, like, prize every time? You take the heated water slide?
No, not the water slide. It depends on the week, but I think they made the wrong decision and again, I'm not there starving. I don't think they're starving also. Like, I think they have bad food, but I think they are like
too much starch, according to Laurel.
Yeah, too much starch, but they have options. I think somebody said they eat like a lot of beef jerky in an interview. Like, they have an oatmeal. They have options for food. They're not literally starving. I think you take the barbecue and you have fun. If it's so important for you to brush your teeth, like two episodes later, the producers will give you toothbrushes off camera. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have a feeling that the producers probably wanted them at some point to take the fun one, because every single week they're just taking the practical one.
Yeah, I take the barbecue here. I'm sorry. Yeah. I know, like, brushing your teeth is important and all that stuff, but, like, brush your teeth after the show. Like, or whatever. Use the baking soda now, because, come on, like, it's a barbecue. Like, and of course they've just been eating all the starch and, I think they also said they were eating a lot of biscuits, but, like, come on, like, a burger, like, it'll be good. Why not?
Yeah. Same thing as with the hot pizza. You got to take the meal.
Yeah, come on.
Take the meal, kids. Okay. All right. So, all right, back to the campaign trail. Only, a few days to go until the big vote. Taylor is taunting Zach that you can't win, Zach. That Taylor has all the girls from Yellow in her pocket. No chance for Zach. Zach is frustrated because he feels like that he could really lead Yellow and change things. He wants to improve Bonanza City. He really wants to make things better in the town, Phil.
Yeah, we get a sequence where, right after, where Taylor has to pay all of them. And I'm surprised that Taylor paid Zach, because I don't know the rule with that. Where, like, apparently the leaders have to, actually give out the money. And, to really piss Zach off, to piss him off, like, why didn't she just be like, you know what? No, you're not getting paid anymore. Like, who cares? But
put him on tilt before the campaign.
Yeah, of course. Like, ruin him a little bit, have him starve, or I don't know. But Zach, I think Zach does a pretty good job of just, like, kind of, unifying people and getting people to. Everyone knows Taylor is a bad leader, but I just don't think that Taylor's followers really care that much.
Yeah. But they think she's a bad leader, but maybe they like her policies. She's an imperfect messenger, maybe.
Yeah, she's an outsider. Taylor's
she's a disruptor.
Oh, yeah.
They like that. They like that on the town council. Okay.
Brand new.
So we're seeing more campaigning. Olivia is working on her campaign. She's going to a key constituent on the blue team, Greg. Akiva, what do you think of Greg?
I don't know. I don't have. So Greg really has, like, a lot to do in these few episodes. Greg's the oldest kid, right? Yeah. He's 15.
The bully.
And he's like a bully, but also at times he's like a bully who looks out for. A bully's like the sort of mid-level kids, but sticks up for, like, the little kids. He's probably the most complex character on the show, although we don't really get he's on the show a lot, but we don't get his POV a lot also.
Yeah.
But if you were one of the people campaigning for town council, wouldn't you make some sort of deal like, hey, I'll get you a gold star, or I'm going to nominate you every week for a gold star till you get
a quid pro quo, Akiva? Is that what you're saying should be going on in Bonanza City? A pro quo?
Yeah, squid pro. I think you have to do that. Like, if it's a close election, you have to offer them something. These kids should learn early what politicians do.
I wonder
pardon you later in life for any crimes you may commit.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was like, some kind of, like, legal thing, like on Survivor, like, you can't, like, say, like, oh, I'm going to share my winnings with you, like, to, win someone over on a vote or something like that. I wonder if that was involved, but because it would make total sense to just,
I just don't think they thought of that. It's a good idea.
Bottom line.
Yeah. Okay. So Taylor is, she's got to get into the marketing game because Zach is out there on the campaign trail. And so her and her friend are going to start making posters. And her posters are, Phil, do you remember what she writes on the poster?
Yeah, she writes, vote for Taylor. I'm not a failure. I'll do my best and beat the rest. And, they all love it. That's genius to them.
But we need a hashtag.
Yeah, it's hashtag vote for Taylor. I'm not a failure. I'll do my best to beat the rest. That's
well. Doesn't she end with deal with it on the poster? Her campaign slogan.
That's perfect marketing.
Yeah.
Imagine running for a re-election and your slogan is "Deal with it."
Not a bad idea.
Yeah. I'm surprised that we didn't see that in 2020.
Yeah, it does feel like a very fifth grade student president, class president type election where it's just like you need to rhyme your name and like also promise them like extra recess and then you win.
Mm-hmm. Listen, it's better than. Did you guys see Guy Lawn's his slogan? It was vote for Guy Lawn for a better Bonanza, and that was it. Like, come on,
simple.
Yeah, it doesn't rhyme. Like,
hard
come on,
to rhyme
you got to do
with
something.
A Guylan.
They could be like, don't be a pawn, vote for Guylan. I don't know, something.
Okay. All right. So we saw then people were ripping up the posters that they were taking the Taylor posters. And Phil, who was this that was ripping up the posters?
It was Markel in a rare appearance,
Okay.
He brought his pogo stick out, actually, and was hopping out on it. Yeah.
He was so anti-Taylor, he ripped down one of the yard signs and then destroyed it. Akiva, this was, one of the ugly sides of the election.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty wild scene because, like Phil said, he's literally bouncing on a pogo stick the whole time. It's like the most dramatic scene of the series so far, almost, if it was portrayed differently. But really, he's jumping on a pogo stick, like showing how silly the show is, like just ripping down the signs. Like, it is funny because it seems like everyone hates Taylor. Like, we learned that Taylor has the votes of all the girls on her team, which I guess like it is the young team, right? So they're probably all look at her like a older, cool girl, and she is the pageant thing. So like they think she's, like the cool person in town. But I think other than those four girls, like every single person seems to loathe her, including Markel.
Yeah, Markel, he is an anarchist, a total anarchist, but also I think he's the voice of the people. Everyone's also saying that. Also, something funny in this as well is after Markel is literally hopping on it with a pogo stick, and then, Anjay comes on, and he's like, is this what Bonanza City's supposed to be? Ripping up people's posters? This is what the real world is, and we're not the real world. Like, does this happen? Yeah. Is this the real world, really?
I suspect that probably some people had their yard signs taken. I don't know if the pogo stick came into it, but I do think that people probably at some point put signs in front of their house and then had those signs defaced.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that did happen.
A good idea. If you don't want to like leave a trace, if you're stealing someone's yard sign, then you should use a pogo stick.
Pogo stick.
No footprints anywhere.
Yeah, look, they took our sign, and I think that kid is pogoing on it. Okay, so Greg comes to the rescue. Greg is going to comfort Layla here, and this is the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde of Greg, where he's going to comfort Greg, putting him in the running, Phil, for the elusive gold star for Greg.
Yeah, this is kind of like Greg's like one little moment, but also it's like just barely enough of a moment to give him a gold star because, with Greg, Greg is always really trying to get the gold star. He's like kind of like not aggressively campaigning, but, he's really working it and everyone can kind of see that. But also Greg is such an older authority figure that they still kind of look up to him in some way. And it's kind of like hard for them to not in a way.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we have our town council talking about who should get the gold star. Taylor throws Greg's name out there, but Mike is always extra shady about Greg. Mike hates Greg. Laurel says she wants to give it to Zach, but Taylor's like, oh no, I don't want to hear anything about Zach. Let's give it to Greg.
Not having it at all.
Yeah, Zach's not getting a gold star and also going to win a spot on the council this week. So, all right, well, we go to our big meeting. Greg has won the star. Akiva, I feel like that we really yada-yada'd Greg's call to his parents.
There's a couple episodes. I think there's one where you don't even see it, right? Mm-hmm. Is that Greg today? One of these first 7 episodes where we don't see it. I had a logistic question about about how these work, because ostensibly, let's say it's a Wednesday night and we're doing the vote, and then the kid is going and calling their parents and telling them, and let's even say that doesn't happen immediately, right?
Yeah.
Let's say that happens a day or two later. That means they're flying a film crew to wherever USA, because that's like professionally filmed. It's not like on an iPhone in 2007.
Yeah, sure.
They have a camera crew, like, all right, wherever they go, all right, we're going to Tacoma tomorrow to like film 12 seconds max, maybe 3 seconds for the scene. Maybe they save some money on Greg's.
Yeah, so if I had to guess, I bet they had probably like local like crews like on standby, like whether it's like via like CBS affiliates that could have gone out and like done something locally as opposed to like flying in members of this production team.
Yeah, for sure. No, but Alex was talking about it in like one of the AMAs, and he said like, well, first of all, like they don't know who's winning. You know, it's like they don't necessarily, you know, they might have an idea, but like once they have to like do it afterwards. But he said it wasn't done like after the fact. They, you know, it wasn't like they didn't chop it up later. It was done like within the day or something.
Okay. Yeah, I know that like, you know, CBS has like, you know, just local production crews. Same people who do like the Big Brother intros. Like they'll just have people to fly around and just do something quick.
All right, let's get to our votes here for the town council seats. Okay, we have our blue goes first. Anjay versus Olivia. Akiva, I felt like that this was excruciatingly long, all of the vote counting.
Yeah, also makes you appreciate Jeff Probst, right?
And Steve Kornacki. Yeah, both of them.
Steve Kornacki. I mean, anybody, even Julie Chen, it makes you appreciate more. Like it's. First of all, I don't know why people get to vote for themselves. Just have those cancel out. Save us 5 seconds. Because as you say, there's no, we don't get to see Greg call home, I don't think, right? And we don't see, he never asks, does anybody want to go home this episode? Because they just probably had to cut it for time because this is the busiest episode so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, he does it very slowly. All right, Olivia. Then this guy, you know, like he does it one by one. Yeah. Updates it in the most boring way. You can't see what it says. Like they could have had some sort of, you know,
give
darker,
the kids a marker, right?
Marker where they could write it,
post it, right?
So unprofessional. Like this is a CBS primetime show, and we're like scribbling like my son would do to like vote out, you know, in like a pretend game of Among Us in the living room. It was strange.
The ballots also are just like these weird, I don't know what formatting these sheets of paper are, but it's like, come on, just have it be a blank sheet of paper. Like, what are you guys trying to do here? This is not a real ballot. I don't know. It was dumb.
Yeah. All right. So Anjay gets reelected. What went wrong for Olivia? I felt like that she had the votes, Phil.
Yeah, I thought so too. And I don't know. From my memory, I remember Olivia winning this one, but you know, that's not what happened. And I don't really know because I think that Olivia probably would have been a better leader than Anjay. I don't know who Anjay's people really are. They don't really get into like a lot of the dynamics.
Right.
Yeah. We don't see vote counts. Like we don't see like, you know, like on Survivor, they'll show people.
7-3.
It's the end of Sequester. They have Will for America song play and then they show who voted for it.
Yes. Yeah. So, all right. So congratulations, Anjay, on re-election. Okay. The votes come in and it is a landslide for Guylan. Mike got only one vote. I believe that was probably his own.
That is his own. It was his own. Yeah. It was 9-1, which probably answers my question of why they let the cell vote. So he didn't get a shutout.
Yeah. Mike cries. And congratulations to Guylan, who is the new leader of the Red City Council. Poor Mike.
Yo, like Guylan was like laughing, like in the middle of the vote count, like really like rubbing the salt in the wound there. Like, and Mike is like almost like starting to cry and everyone else is just like, you know, can't contain their laughter. They're just like cracking up.
This is for the best. Mike, this is too much stress for him, Akiva.
Yeah, the producers did a good, like the editors here did a good job of, because I thought Mike was going to win easily and I thought Anjay might lose. I figured it would be 2 wins, 2 losses because that's how these reality shows work usually. And you sort of knew Taylor was going to lose, especially when they saved it for last. But yeah, I was shocked that Mike got no votes, had no support. And they had to know also, right? Like, if you're losing 9-0, that you have to know, like, did they all say we're voting for you and then lie? I can't imagine. That would be too mean.
Yeah, I wonder if like right before Mike was like talking to everyone like, yo, you're voting for me, right? And like they were like not making eye contact with him and he was scared or anything like that. I don't know how that went, but it was pretty funny and also like a little bit embarrassing for Mike to, you know, someone couldn't throw him a pity vote. I don't know if they all knew, like, come on. I don't know.
Okay. And then finally, the big showdown, the main event, Taylor versus Zach. And somehow here, we got 5 votes for Zach, 4 votes for Taylor that we see. Do we presume that there was a 6th vote for Zach that was not shown, Phil?
Yeah, because it seems like only Taylor's people voted for except for, of course, Randy, who's the person who flipped.
Randy flipped.
Who flipped?
No, Rob, that team had somebody leave already, so there was 2 teams with only 9.
That's right.
They were down to 9. So it was an even 5.
Okay. So so congratulations to Zach, and he gets up there and shouts out, "Viva la revolution!" Phil, do the producers give him this line? That seems absurd that a 10-year-old wins the city government and then is going to be yelling that out.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they were just like, oh, we need a title for this episode. All right, we don't have one yet. So, Zach, just go up and say that. Where did he get that from?
Right. Right.
It was my note, too. It was my note, too. Yeah, you have to be right. There's no way.
Yeah.
Zach is, a precocious 10-year-old. But by the way, I'm a little disappointed I didn't get to come on for the episodes 3, 4, and 5 last week, or whatever, 4, 5, and 6, whatever it was, where Zach, got to debate with the Jew crew who's better, Jews or Christians. We could have talked about that.
Yeah.
What a crazy episode that 4th one was, where they're just like,
yeah,
it's like, all right, we're good, because they clearly mapped it out. Like this episode that we just talked about is like the election episode, right? And there's going to be like other episodes that have like a central theme. It's crazy that they're like, we're going to do a religion one with a bunch of 10-year-olds saying like religion is the root of all evil in the world and causes all the wars. What a crazy decision.
Yeah. Well, I think that they really sat there with like in a room with like a bulletin board of like, okay, what are the hot button issues in society? It's like, all right, we got to do the economy. We got to do the environment. We have to do elections. We're going to do religion. Like they're just going to try to map it out to like what would go on in Bonanza City for each of these things.
Yeah. There has to be like the courts coming soon. I don't remember if there aren't, but like there has to be like jail and courts and police coming soon. Also,
yeah, I think that there'll probably be some sort of like a Law and Order type episode, if we had to guess, of what's on the way. All right. Taylor takes this okay for now.
For now.
Okay. All right.
It's going to be a tough transition of power, but, for now,
Taylor
okay
says there will be a peaceful transition of power for the yellow team. Okay. Let's go to episode 6, entitled Bonanza is Disgusting. They really try to tie in a lot of themes here pertaining to the environment, how garbage is handled, cleanliness in general, and I feel like they really force it here, Akiva. Very heavy-handed.
Heavy-handed to the point where when they give them later in the episode, like the reward options, it's they could either take vegetables or a go-kart that's going to somehow cause global warming to ruin the universe.
Yeah, this is what this is the choice.
A choice between Mother Earth and fossil fuels.
Really reaching for this one.
They run
crazy
on gasoline.
Yeah, and that's another terrible decision they made, because they literally choose the vegetables and go crazy, like jumping into the vegetables instead of, which are probably gone by the end of the scene, instead of like something that was actually fun.
Are you a go-kart guy?
No, but if I was 10, I'd be a go-kart.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not. But if I was 10 or 11, like, that sounds so fun. Of course, Taylor was the biggest dune buggy guy.
Oh, yeah.
Dune buggy gal. Okay. All right. So we see the ramification, the fallout of the vote. And Taylor actually is not taking it so great. The Guylan and Zach, they're new members of the council, but Taylor is not happy. Now, Phil, Taylor does not contest the results of the election, but she does say that, hey, Zach made my life miserable, complained about me when I was in power. Now I'm going to do it to him.
Yeah, this is like almost like the ultimate position for Taylor, because, now Taylor really does not have to do anything. You know, even though she was a leader, she had some responsibilities, even though she was slacking off. Now it's really like, she's in this for herself.
She's going to be on social media planning her next run and then just complaining about Zach's administration the whole time.
She goes up to Zach and she's like, Colton hates you. All the girls hate you. And then Zach is like, oh, that's too bad. And she's like, that's too bad, my butt. Like, yeah. She's just telling it like, everyone hates you. I have that
clip.
I thought Colton hates you. All the girls hate you. That's too bad. That's too bad, my butt.
Yeah. That's too bad, my butt.
Ultimate, political meeting of the minds, just it's the best debate I've ever seen, I think. Yeah.
She also tells him to shave his unibrow also, Akiva.
It's rough. That's a
I don't think Zach has a unibrow.
Yeah, that's a harsh thing to say to him. But again, she claimed, I was looking on Twitter, like she claimed that they were like, play a character, be mean. But I have a feeling she just was mean. Like,
yeah.
There's no one's that good at acting to be like that evil. Like Taylor is, she knows what will hurt you.
She never found her way onto the Disney Channel after this groundbreaking performance at age 10.
I think she did some acting.
Oh, but,
she did? I think she did a little acting, and then she's an occupational therapist now.
Oh, good look at Taylor.
But it's like, it's not like Taylor was like, oh, I really wanted to, clean the dishes and take out the trash, but, that just wasn't my character, But it's like, it's not like, she was really reaching for something. Like, she was, if she's playing a character, she was pretty much playing herself, I'd say.
So, Akiva, in the first couple of weeks of this podcast, like I have become more and more horrified at the different ways they've endangered the children. Between that, what they have no food, they're like dealing with, they're cooking their own things on a hot stove, and like they got to open all these cans in the kitchen, all things that you wouldn't necessarily have your 8-year-old working on. It's freezing, then they're soaking them in water. There's a dust storm. Here, we learn about Bonanza City has a rat problem also.
Yeah, are those even rats? They're like so big. I mean, I've seen New York City rats, run past my feet like every Manhattanite. But like, the rats are big. I agree. I think ultimately, like, that's the reason why the show didn't have a second season, right? Like, they just couldn't figure out how to make it seem safe, and they probably just got sued too many times.
Yeah, we'll get into that later, but there was definitely some suing going on.
The Bonanza City courthouse is going to be in action.
We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. So Bonanza City is disgusting. There is a entry in the town journal. Like, if you like the town journal,
it's a little hokey. It doesn't really fit with the rest. Like, I know they're trying to fit into like the theme of we're in the 1800s. But there's no, like, I don't know. It's a little bit of, like, the ghostwritery, like, who is writing this journal. But, yeah, it's fine. It doesn't, I don't mind. There's, like, a theme every week at the beginning. Yeah. Like, it's curfew time or whatever it is.
All right. So you got a problem here. We got too much garbage. Need to get rid of it. Anjay, he's got an outside-the-box idea for the garbage.
We could just maybe get some gunpowder.
Gunpowder? But it would be fun to watch it blow up.
Yeah, why don't we just get some gunpowder and just blow up the garbage? Did anybody think of that?
I had that same exact thought when I was a kid, and I was trying to figure out, like, how can we get rid of pollution? I was like in second grade, and I was really sitting in my room thinking about it. And I was like, let's just blow it up. It's foolproof. It's genius. I don't know why they didn't do it. It would have been great for ratings,
I honestly thought they might burn it. I thought the kids might be allowed to burn the garbage somehow, but it doesn't come up.
No. Okay. So, all right, we need to have a town meeting about the garbage detail. Meanwhile, we have Jared, who Akiva, I always think that Jared is like the kid that they like force feed the most lines to. Jared has had some, pretty heavy thoughts about the environment as we head into our town council meeting.
I think the environment is a lot of the times a sorry place because of what humans have done. We've polluted the ozone layer. We've polluted the waters. I don't know what my generation can do yet.
Yeah. Boy, Jared, you're 8. Like, take
you didn't do anything yet. Yeah. Like, come on.
Don't beat yourself up, buddy.
Jared, am personally to blame for global.
who stressed out Jared that young where they're like, Jared, sit down, like when he's 4 years old. All right, we've polluted the ozone layer. We've polluted the waters. Like putting all this stress on this poor kid. Like,
poor Jared. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
All right. So they have a big town meeting and they need to put a bunch of people on. Okay, we need to haul the garbage out to a big hole and then dump it out there. And what a great way to punish Taylor and Layla by putting them on the garbage detail. Phil, was this a good use of power or bad use of power by the council?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're really trying to just punish them. That's what Laurel and all of them are saying. But the thing is, because there's no rules in Bonanza City, you know, this is never going to really work out in Taylor in their favor. You know, Taylor's going to still do whatever she wants. Although I think this was kind of one of the funniest scenes, in my opinion, just watching Taylor. Actually, that comes later. Taylor, like, just taking, like, you know, hauling trash or hauling water. It's hilarious, but you can never get Taylor to do work. Just bottom line. Yeah.
She doesn't want to do it. She's a pageant queen. Pageant girls are not supposed to be dragging the garbage out. It seemed like that the new thing to do was also just give Taylor a deal with it back to her. Really just use her catchphrase back onto Taylor. I think she does not care for that.
Yeah, I wonder if they knew, like, deal with it. Because obviously Taylor knows deal with it popped. But I wonder if, like, all the other kids are like, all right, this is going to be the hashtag or whatever. You know, I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. So she runs away. She's like, you can't make me. I'm out of here. I'm not doing this. I'm a pageant queen. And everybody's just very upset, Akiva.
Yeah, I mean, she did sort of solve this problem of realizing, like, hey, I never have to do anything, especially now that I don't have to win an election. I think, like, I feel like I've known a bunch of Taylors in my life. They've sort of, like, gamed the system, and they realized they could get away without doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody else is gonna be doing the hard work. Guylan, Phil, has a little bit of an issue of that he cannot break ground. People are getting upset with Greg. Even is like, Guylan sucks. Can't even dig.
My take on these last 3 episodes, and I forgot about this, but I think Guylan is totally just underqualified for this position. I want to take Mike back, in my opinion, because I feel like Guylan, like, we'll see Guylan later where he's like leading a competition. I think that's in the next episode where he's like the caller for a competition, and he has no idea like what he's doing. And I feel like Guylan really was like, all right, yeah, I'll be a leader. And, you know, they just didn't like Mike, but like Guylan is not the perfect alternative. I feel like he has a lot of ideas, I guess, but he can't really execute any of them. And I feel even like watching Guylan, you know, there's a shot where Guylan's trying to dig a hole and like you see on a shovel, like there's like 3 pebbles on it. Like, that's it. Like, come on, Guylan. I know. I don't know. Like, I don't think you're that great. Sorry.
Yeah. Guylan has some problems here. He's going to get upset. And then the only person that can console him is DK. DK, who has a great episode for DK, and he pumps Guylan back up. Akiva, that put a captain star on DK's jersey.
Yeah, I don't know why DK doesn't. I don't know. That was one of my notes. Like, why didn't DK get the gig? Maybe he didn't want it instead of Guylan, because he's clearly like one of the leaders. He's maybe the 2nd or 3rd oldest kid after Greg. And
good locker room presence.
Yeah, good locker room presence. Yeah, he's like a winning personality. Like, I don't understand. Guylan is at best Guylan is vanilla, right? Like, he's not super interesting, and like there's nothing special about him. So yeah, I don't know why DK didn't get this job, but he's smarter because he gets the gold star, right? He gets the money that he wouldn't have gotten, that Guylan probably never gets.
Yeah, I think that's why, to be honest. Just, you know, if you run, what are the real benefits? You know what I mean? Like, and DK is still, at this point, I think DK is more of the leader than Guylan. So it's just like, DK can, you know, still be the leader and he can win a gold star. Like, why not? I don't know.
Okay. So the group is still insisting Taylor must be punished. We must have some punishment for Taylor. And so they say, all right, there's a big water tank. We're running out of water. Taylor, go fill up the water tank. What could go wrong? And she says, okay, sure, I'll do it. And then she goes and gets the water and then kicks it all on the ground.
she's like, they're like dictators telling me what to do. And it's like, Taylor, what were you doing for the first 4 episodes? Like, all you were doing was just telling other people what to do and not doing a single thing yourself.
Yeah. Taylor's the best.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
I mean, that's sort of how you know that she's probably not going to leave here. Because I thought maybe, does she leave? But, like, she is so far and away the star. I know they're trying to, like, make Jared a star. Mm-hmm. And there's a few other, like, second-tier people. But, like, Taylor is the star of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, you know, after Taylor loses office, like, we really think, all right, you know, I guess Taylor's not going to be, like, the star anymore. But no, she's still the star of the show, regardless. Like, we just love to watch her.
Yeah. I think that there is like a discussion to be had here of like, okay, were we all just paying so much attention to Taylor because she was in power? And there's an argument in 2021 that, okay, well, if somebody's not in power, maybe people won't pay attention to what they do. But the Taylors of the world find a way to create drama, whether or not they are in power or not.
Exactly. And, you know, Taylor's followers are going to follow Taylor regardless, you know. Well, actually, in this episode, things work out differently, but...
Yeah. Akiva, do you feel like that maybe more like historians should look to the behavior of this 10-year-old little girl to maybe be able to predict more things about the future?
Yeah, I think so. I do think in general, this is a fascinating sociological experiment, maybe even more so than other reality shows like Survivor. Like the kids, you know, obviously, like depending on how much they're sort of, you know, the adults are getting involved in the action here, but like the kids are really, you know, there's a lot of interesting things that come out that you do see. Again, the show's ahead of its time. Like you see things now that are like, this is too advanced for 07. But 2021, this makes perfect sense.
Yeah. All right. They end up getting everybody to go fill up the water. Phil, am I a dum-dum that I don't really understand how the water works in Bonanza City? Like, there's a well, and then there's like a big like barrel thing. So, and where does the water come? The water comes from the barrel thing, or the water, like what was empty? The barrel thing, or the well?
No, it wasn't the well. It was like their water tower thing. Like, and I guess my idea is that they get like the water tower is another way to get water that's like closer than walking to the well, and they had to fill it up. But yeah, that was also kind of unclear. Like they should have, you know, mapped it out.
Were you
better.
following that, Akiva? How the water system works?
No, I was sort of over my head, but I will say they also like Taylor's punishment was she had to do it herself. And Taylor's like, in addition to being useless in terms of helping, like probably one of the weakest people there. And this ended up being a 30-person job with everyone going back and forth a few times. So I don't think it was so realistic for Taylor to really handle it on her own.
No, they just wanted to see Taylor be punished.
Do labor for the first time, even though, you know, she's still not going to do labor at all.
Yeah, you can't make her do it. Deal with it. All right. So we see Mike, and we see Mike as a civilian for the first time. Phil, it seems like it's agreeing with him.
Yeah, you know, it's, you know, I'm sure he's kind of relaxing a little bit that he doesn't have to, you know, deal with the stress of everyone's eyes being on him all the time. Because I think that did get to him. You know, I think, you know, everyone constantly, you know, looking to Mike and Mike having to act like he knew what was going on, even though he had no idea what was going on, like really got to him, you know, and I think it was probably really hard. So, you know, now that he's just like one of the people, just like everyone else, just chilling, like it's pretty great.
All right. Let's talk about Showdown for episode number 6. Akiva, this was insane to me that the showdown here in this episode, again, I guess the theme is messy garbage. Okay, the host comes in and says, okay, kids, we've got a bunch of messy, dirty, stinky pigs, and we filled their pig pen with baked beans. What? Like, by the way, this is a pork and beans joke?
Yeah, I don't know if it's pork and beans, but I do know that this is supposed to be like an environmental episode, and they're dumping out 1,600 gallons of beans that no one's going to eat. Just repulsive.
Why
I get, like,
couldn't
what's
they just
the
have the
dirtiest
pigs
thing
in
we
mud?
could do?
Well, then why do they have to waste all those beans?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I bet it was like, do we think it was like leftover beans that they ordered for like the rest of the season, and they realized the kids weren't going to eat all the beans, so they were just like, all right, let's just dump all the beans out here. Like, it's not like anyone else is going to be eating them. I don't know.
I don't know, because it was like the whole thing was like, okay, you're looking for canned food. All right, a pork and beans is a canned food, so let's get some pigs out there, and then, okay, let's open 1 million cans of beans. But this was wild. 2007. What are you thinking?
And also, like, again, like, for some reason, they just keep throwing animals into these showdowns. Like, kids with animals, I don't know, like, come on, like, it seems so unsafe, and it seems like, you know, like, these poor animals, I don't think the kids were really looking after the pigs. I don't think anyone was really looking after the pigs. I don't know what the decision was or why.
And a kid could have gotten hurt. I mean, it was so insane that somebody's like, oh, yeah, good idea.
Rob, as parents, I think we have to take a step back and think, like, what kind of parents are sending their kids, their 10-year-olds, on this show where, as far as they know, like, it's not like Survivor where, like, someone could win $1 million. Like, they probably got more money ultimately than the kids thought they would. Mm-hmm. You know, the ones who win the gold stars. Like, they're literally just doing it. Like, I'm going to send my kid away for a free summer camp where maybe they could become, like, a TV star, but more realistically will say horrific things on television that should haunt them later in life. It's crazy.
Well, I don't think saying things that were going to haunt you later in life was really a thing yet in 2007.
I know. And I don't think it happened really. Like, I don't think anybody was like canceled from the show, but I just think like the Taylors of the world have to deal with it. You know,
that's the ultimate irony. Like, she has to deal with it.
That, you know, like good chickens die or whatever she said. Like, which she claims also was a line fed to her. But I think, it just like imagine the parents of these people. Like, they all have to be so bad at parenting.
Yeah, I mean, Phil, it is kind of wild that you hear like more than one kid say, yeah, I'm homeschooled, where it's like my parents, they don't even like send me to a public school, but here I am on Kid Nation.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like, and also, just so you guys, again, they went during the school year, too. Yeah. It wasn't even, like, over the summer.
Oh, I forgot that it's not during because they're cold. So that makes sense, right? It only makes sense for the show to have been shot in the summer. But I guess New Mexico's probably too hot for that,
maybe.
Right?
Yeah. I wonder if the dates of shooting, and I haven't looked this up, line up with the dates that are in the book, where it's like, it's April 18th, 1885. Like, I wonder if those dates are similar to where the production is right now. I think that would make some sense if it was April.
It was, although it was like snowing for some reason in April, like earlier. But I do know that like a lot of the kids' parents, you know, because these kids are pretty brilliant. You know, or at least there's some kids that are pretty brilliant. And then there's other kids like Greg who, you know, just grew up in a farm. And, you know, I think, you know, a lot of the parents thought these kids would be able to cut it out there and prove themselves and, you know, I don't know, get some kind of exposure or I don't know.
Like, I understand, like, hey, if you're Greg's parents, it's like, yeah, okay, let's, we get Greg out of the house for 5 weeks. Okay, great. Taylor's parents. Okay. Oh, great. No, a break from Taylor.
Keep her for season 2.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, you feel like that most people wouldn't send their kids off to be a part of this. Okay. Anyway, so we get into the cans, and it turns out that red ends up winning, yada, yada. Red's the upper class, green's the merchant, yellow are the cooks again. Love when yellow is cooking, and blue are the laborers. And then so we get into the choice of, okay, do you want fruits and vegetables or the gasoline-powered dune buggies? And Taylor really wants the dune buggies, but it's so heavy-handed, Phil, that the host is really trying to drive home the environmental damage that these 2 dune buggies could do.
Yeah, and also on the other side, they talk about like how the fruits and vegetables are like Mother Nature. It's not like, you know, they're like they gave them seeds and they're like, all right, you guys can start a garden and plant your own. But no, it was just like you can either eat fruits and vegetables or, you know, have these dune buggies. I don't know about also just like the safety behind these dune buggies. Also, like if there was going to be someone watching them, and
right.
I don't really know how that would work or how, like, what if these kids just like crash into one of the houses or something like that? You know what I mean?
Akiva, don't you think that we probably would have lost a kid had they gotten the dune buggies?
Yeah, I do wonder if it was the first thing I thought of is like the dune buggies probably would be there for the next shot and then they take them away, right? Like they'd let them play with them for 10 minutes. And because the pogo stick almost caused like, you know, the town to fall apart. So the dune buggies there's a horrific injury waiting to happen in the New Mexico desert.
Okay.
Yeah, so these kids are filling it up with oil and stuff like that. I don't know. And also, this is something else. Like, once they pick the fruits and vegetables, because there's a big coalition who does want the dune buggies. So, there's Taylor who wants the dune buggies.
Colton.
And, there's Colton. Colton. Colton is like, when they pick the dune buggies, when they pick the fruits and vegetables, Colton's like, you guys are dull-minded as hell. And, like, Colton was the one who thought that Hanukkah was just, like, people celebrating oil. Like, really? You're the one calling them dull-minded?
Although they do have never-ending gasoline for the dune buggies, Akiva, so it would be sort of like a mini Hanukkah for the dune buggies.
Yeah, I did. I like how he, like, to make it worse, it's like, all the, like the way Probst would say all the fixins, and all the gas you could ever need. Like, Exxon stock is up today, baby, because we bought so much gas for these dune buggies.
Unlimited gasoline. Okay. All right, so we have our fruits and veggies are going to be now part of the available options to eat. We're going to now see Zach try to flex his muscle again on Taylor. Puts Taylor in charge of the dishes. She doesn't want to, Akiva. She's busy working on a fruit salad.
It is funny because I do wonder if they're trying to make her seem like the villain, because like if they would be like, oh, I'm doing my hair. That would like, or like I'm taking a nap. Like that's what the villain would be doing. Making a fruit salad for the whole town seems like a pretty reasonable thing to do. I know it's not her job.
That being said, is cutting up all of the fruit and putting it into a fruit salad the best use of the fruit?
Probably not.
I would say no. And also, was she really making it for everyone else? Like, do you think Taylor's like one to really, hey guys, I made this fruit salad, now we're all going to share? No, it was definitely Taylor and her friends were just going to eat it all themselves or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. So Zach says, hey, if you're not going to do this job, you're not going to get paid, Taylor. How about that?
Here's again the pay control that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I wonder, because there are no real rules. Every time I start to think about like, oh, wait, can people get paid? I remember there's no rules to this show. I think a leader would be allowed to just withhold the payment. Why not? Like, come on.
She didn't think about that. She did that. Zach invented that. Okay. And then she's not going to get paid. And then also, on top of that, you're not going to get paid. And
you know what? You can forget about the gold star.
Forever!
It's shattered, Taylor. I mean, do we really think, like, there was no way Taylor was ever going to get the gold star anyways, right? Like, Taylor's just in it for the TV, whatever, like. Forever!
Yeah. She was doing it for the gram before it existed.
Yeah, really. I could see, like, Taylor thinking, okay, I'm going to be able to do, like, commercials after this or something like that. Mm-hmm. Like, I wonder if, like, we saw Taylor, like, after this show, like, she becomes such a big celebrity. She's, like, doing, like, a car ad, and she's like, Kia, like, come to the dealership and deal with it. I don't know.
Yeah,
something.
Get a deal with it. Yeah, I feel like that she should have fired whatever agent or manager she had after this. She really should have blown up, Akiva.
I think she probably came out thinking she'd be a big star, and not sure why she wasn't, to be honest. I think maybe because the show ends, like, people had a negative connotation with the show after, but it doesn't really make sense that she didn't become a big star, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's some roughhousing that goes on. Emily, who I think we only know her from, she was the chicken protector. She chases one kid until he runs into a barrel. DK is like the enforcer. He comes out, he's like, guys, come on.
Acting like a bunch of hyenas.
Yeah, DK's shutting it down.
It was weird watch because it was Brett who, he bumped into a barrel and fell, but like we didn't see any blood. We didn't see like it was like I'm wondering like what happened to this kid? Is he okay? Did he fracture a bone? Of course, we still never see a medic or anything like that.
No,
like
DK.
Throw someone in. Yeah.
All right. So we have our gold star meeting. People say, hey, what about DK? Okay, sure. How about that? All right. We go back to our big town council meeting. We check in with Mike. Mike is really, fit in he's gone back to normal life, that he, had a taste of power. He's gone back to being a normal citizen. It's fine for him. But everybody is bagging on Taylor again, to the point where Guylan talks about Taylor about that not carrying the water around, and he has like a weird flex, Akiva. He says like, hey, that I even have weaker upper body strength than you, and I was even able to do it.
Yeah, that is a weird flex, but okay. Like, yeah, I'm the weakest guy here, even though I'm a bigger guy than, most of the people.
It is funny to just see, like, even though Taylor's not in office, the town council meetings are still about how much Taylor sucks.
Yeah, everyone's being
why are you so obsessed with me, Taylor?
Yeah, and DK stands up and it's like, all right, come on, knock it off, everybody. Stop being so mean.
You know what, guys? I honestly think, like, this whole episode, like, DK has just been the greatest. Like,
yes.
DK, we get DK giving the speech before the showdown. We get DK, telling everyone to knock it off. I think DK is really, really campaigning for this gold star. And we're going to see later on in this council, he's really working it. I want you guys to know, also, DK, he's grown up and he's an actor now. DK is an actor on...
I was going to ask Akiva, did he grow up to be DK Metcalf?
No, he's a little too old for a little too old for that. But no, he's an actor. Like Phil was saying, more a theater actor. It says he was in Chicago Fire. I think he has more social media following than pretty much most of the other people.
Okay,
but DK. We'd seen DK before, but this is definitely at least through the first half of the season. Like, this is his winner edit episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we pivot off of that. Like, DK has this great moment. It's like, all right, does anybody want to go home? And then DK stands up like, what? No, DK. He's like, I'm sick of the drama. He was too good for this world, Phil. He's crying.
I just need to go home to my family. Yeah, that's the thing. I think he's really, really, really working it. I don't know if DK, we never saw any suspicion that DK was going to go home before.
Age.
That's what I think. I think he's doing the greatest performance of all time. This is probably not true. This is just my fan fiction theory, but this is really what I'm going to project onto the show. I think DK's really, because, later we see Guylan, take him aside, and Guylan, we don't really know what they're talking about. I think Guylan must have been like, yo, you're going to get the gold star. Like,
he had to tell him, right? He had to tell him.
This is the thing, because they're like, the kids are like telling us, like, wait, no, he can't go home now. He won't get the 20,000.
That would have been great drama, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. Was DK really going to go home? I mean, maybe. Because it just seemed like his reason was just like, I don't want to put up with the drama anymore. It wasn't the conditions. It was just the drama. And I guess it would be a lot for a kid, but I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So DK won the gold star. He is MVP of the episode. So great job there by DK.
Yeah. And, after that, he goes and, he talks to his family, and his family seems great. Like, this is his family. This is the first time where I'm like, wow, like, like, your family's cool. Like, they're not wooden. Maybe they're all actors. I don't know. It's great. He comes from a great home, seems like.
Okay. Let's talk about episode number 7. It's called The Root of All Evil. We talk about capitalism and dirty money. And
disgusting.
Let's talk about a lot of issues here in this. And we get introduced to a character, Devad. Phil, have we seen Devad at all through 6 episodes?
No, we have not.
She pops
but of course,
up here in a big way.
Oh, yeah. Huge episode for Devad. Yeah, love her.
Devad has an interesting business, Akiva. She's taken the food that is like the community food, and then she has like prepared it to some varying degrees, some of which seems like that she just opened a can and then is selling the food for profit.
Brilliant. Everyone should do that. Take the food. Like, imagine if you went to the calf in college and got the food that your parents, or whatever, the card, and then all right, I'm going to sell it outside for half the price for people don't have cash. It doesn't really it's not explained how she's even allowed to do that, how this is not stealing.
Mm-hmm. Well, Sophia has a problem with it.
Yeah, no, and when Jared opens up a rival store, right? Is that Jared?
Yeah. So let's talk this through, because Jared has a meltdown here about, we have some people who are sort of they do not like this from a perspective of that this is just somebody trying to make money. I don't like that people are trying to have a business. And Jared just rages here about this. Phil, what's going on?
Yeah, Jared is just he's like Jesus at the cleansing of the temple. He's just like throwing over tables, just like, like this is not like you shouldn't. I don't know. Like, where did this come from? I didn't know Jared was such like he was anti-capitalist like that. But
I guess, or maybe he comes around. There's a lot of Bill Gates talk in this episode too.
Bill Gates has so much money. He made Microsoft. Nobody complained about that.
Of course, no one complained about it. Microsoft was a big thing.
This is a big thing too. This is a really big thing.
Yeah.
She's now the second richest person in the world.
For some reason, Bill Gates and George Bush, just to date this, Bill Gates and George Bush are the two people that get name dropped the most in this show,
Yeah.
And Bill,
Akiva, what'd you make of Jared's meltdown? Because he's so mild-mannered the whole show.
Yeah, it almost like you barely see it, but he like wrecks the whole thing, sort of off, maybe possibly some of it off camera. And then, like, he ends up doing the apologizing, which he should. Like, he shouldn't have wrecked that story.
Great apology also from Jared to Devad.
I guess I was wrong. Yeah. Well, we're only human.
Yeah. I love that. I'm going to try that with my wife. Next time I get in, my wife is mad at me like, well, I'm only human.
Yeah. I wonder if that line was fed to, because for some reason, he has just a total change of heart. We don't really see that. I'm sure, Jared kind of seems like he has like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing going on, where it's like, he's totally chill for this one moment, and then all of a sudden, it comes up out of nowhere, and Jared's pissed, and Jared, where did this come from?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You talked about last week he gets bullied at school sometimes, so maybe that it's just like he has this rage inside him ready to go.
About fried potatoes, though?
I like how his parents were like, he gets bullied at school. Let's send him on national TV where he can hang out with 14-year-olds. Like, the 11-year-olds, like, throw him in a locker, but I'm sure the older kids are going to love him.
So we go to the journal, and the journal tells the kids about, like, hey, back in the old days in Bonanza City, we would have like a gold rush. So go to this mine, and you'll find something in there. There's some money in there. And Anjay, we talked about how in the last episode he talked about how he wanted to blow up the garbage in the town with gunpowder. He also has another dark thought about the trip to the gold mine.
I just hope we don't end up like the Donner Party, eating our own people.
Akiva, were you expecting a Donner Party reference in Kid Nation?
No, I mean, he's younger than I am, and I feel like that reference is too old for me almost. So,
do you think that he got fed, no pun intended, that line by the producers?
Yeah, I think a lot of them are getting fed. Like Jared, every line Jared says getting fed. I think I think the confessionals are being fed. Yeah, some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I hope we don't end up like the Donner
Just
Party.
a very random pull quote.
Okay. So then these kids go into this mine, and they're talking about how the mine smells. And then, Phil, there's like bats in the mine also.
Yeah, the whole time I was thinking, all right, where did this come from? I was wondering if this was like a part of the set, because Akiva, this is like a TV show. This was like they use this set for like 3:10 to Yuma, like they use it for a lot of westerns and stuff like that. So like I was thinking like, all right, I guess this is just for like cave and mine sequences, but yeah, they have like real bats there. I don't know if they put them in there or if the bats were just there. I have no idea, but
I don't think they put the bats in there.
I can't imagine that there was actually bats, because I think they say if like a bat flies into your house, you're supposed to get the rabies shot. Because bats can like sort of lightly bite you and you don't even know.
Yeah.
Hey,
so
kids, I can't imagine
it's Uncle Rob from 2021. Bats are not your friends, okay? Leave them alone.
Man, good thing they didn't try to just eat the bats.
No.
You know, that would have been
Yeah.
I will say though, you know, I remember a few things from when I first watched the show when I was a kid, but this cave sequence I remember was like one of the big things. Like when I was watching this episode, I had like a flashback. Like I had one of those like Ratatouille moments where I just like was transported back to
why? What was it about the cave, Phil?
I don't know. It was just really spooky. That's basically it. But yeah.
Yeah. You know, Akiva, do you know that Phil really wanted to be on Kid Nation, that he was ready to apply for season 2?
It got
Is that
canceled.
true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were going to apply? Oh my gosh.
My dad was hyping me up, but
he wasn't like Melissa Denny, who was going to make a fake ID to say she was younger to be on it.
Oh, was that her plan? That she was going to, like, was she too old for that?
She was too old,
wow.
but Phil would have been the right age to be on it.
Fake ID going younger for a child. First of all, do kids have IDs? She could have just lied.
I think that's what she was going to do.
I don't know if they checked the birth certificate.
Akiva, you talk about like bad parents. Yeah. You wouldn't bring your kids on the show on Kid Nation?
Yeah. So I asked my 7-year-old, because he came in a bunch of times. He did ask once a smart question, which was he came in a few times during the sort of the rose ceremonies, like the thing at the end where they give out here's the gold star and who wants to go home, and so he said, what if someone goes home and they don't get and they're going to get the gold star, which ended up happening in the next episode. But I said, would you want to be on the show? And he said, well, what do you have to do? And I said, well, you have to live with a bunch of kids and have fun. And and some of them cook and some of them clean. He's like, no, I don't like cleaning. I would not do it.
Okay. So he would be perfect.
He was out.
Kid would have been like Taylor. I don't know. No.
Yeah. Okay. Melissa was gonna change her identity and alter her birth certificate to be on. She'd be like some sort of Latin American baseball prospect. Try to get picked up at the younger age than she really was.
Pretty smart.
Yeah.
Adrian Belcher.
Okay. So we find a treasure chest, and the treasure chest is filled with nickels. $18 worth of nickels, Phil.
Yeah, for the pioneers, this would have just bought them the whole town. But,
yeah,
it was it was an odd thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. And nickels, too. They couldn't give them a dollar bill, to really, hype it up, make it seem. But I guess, they want it to be an old treasure thing or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and Akiva, this brought up an interesting question for the town council. All right, budget surplus here, found money. What do we do here? Do we just hand it out to people in the form of tax refund? What should we do?
Yeah, this is an interesting dilemma. They end up choosing to buy things it is interesting because their attitude is, we know better than you. If we give it to you, you're going to spend it on cookies and ice cream. We know what you need better than you know what you need, so we're going to buy essentials. Is it made clear which essentials they bought? I'm not so sure. I don't remember. But
they bought guitars and baseball bats.
Yeah, not by the way, yes. The things that the kids would have wasted their money on.
Yeah.
And kites.
Yeah.
We don't see them,
government.
We don't see them. They don't buy toilet paper. They literally buy none of that stuff. We just see the kids out and playing. I feel like it would have been better for a team leader to just give them the money and be like, here you go, guys. Good job. But instead they're like, no, we have to buy them the guitars. I don't know why.
Maybe they got a discount they bought them in bulk.
Oh yeah.
Maybe a government ID card.
Perhaps. But the town loves it. The approval ratings are sky high for the new Core 4.
Yeah, except everyone's having fun, enjoying it, except for Nathan.
Nathan.
Yeah.
Okay. Nathan for us segment. We'll meet a new kid here in episode 7. Nathan. Nathan is the homeschooled laundry lover, Akiva. Nathan loves doing the laundry.
Mm-hmm. Who doesn't?
He really is very into it. He also he loves to do the laundry, and he also gets bullied by Greg, Phil.
You know what? Watching that interaction made me so mad just because Greg is just, he knows how to get to people. But it was also kind of you know what? Nathan, maybe this is good, that you went on the show. I think everyone kind of has to experience a school bully. It's such a good growth thing, not to be he deserved to be bullied, but yeah. Why not? Having Greg bully you, it helps. It makes you a stronger person,
There's an awkward moment when Nathan doing the laundry. He finds a pair of some girl's underwear in the laundry. Wait, what is this?
And then Sophia's like, you guys don't have to clean the underwear. And then Alex and Nathan are like, no, yeah, we got it.
Yeah. All right. We're introduced also to Pharaoh in this episode. Phil, have we met Pharaoh before?
Nah, I don't think so. I think we maybe got one interaction with him earlier. No, I don't really think so. No.
Yeah. Okay. Pharaoh is he washes the dishes. He's set up here to maybe get a gold star in this episode.
They really set him up. They go into his backstory. They're like, oh man, he needs it more than
he's desperate. Pharaoh's family needs his money. By the way, he's going to lose to the kid who clearly does not need it and is going to buy guitar lessons with it at the end of the episode. It's really because you usually know who's going to get. Sometimes it's not even a secret, with the DK episode where you knew DK was getting it. It was just a question of whether he was going to leave. Like, so they pretty much let you know in a lot of the episodes who's going to win the gold star.
Mm-hmm.
But Pharaoh, this was the biggest shock of this series so far. But yeah, Pharaoh, like the fact that they made it seem like Pharaoh really needs the money and Nathan is like a homeschooled weirdo who's just going to use it to learn how to play the piano. Like, Nathan should at least give Pharaoh half his money. This is crazy.
Yeah, well, it was really set up as Devad versus Pharaoh the whole episode. And then even though we got a lot of Nathan, like, he was not in the running for the gold star up until the very end. It was like a really big swerve.
Yeah, for me, this was like the first like big blind side, I would think, where I was actually kind of shocked by the end. Also, another weird thing that happens, this is a little bit earlier in the episode, but I really wanted to just like touch on what was going on here, where Sophia is, she's talking, they again try to tie in the theme of greed. So Sophia.
This is great.
Wants the kids to, be able to, get their own money or something like that. And so she gets a pot. And she fills it with like baked beans, condensed milk, like potatoes, oatmeal, and like rotting vegetables. And she like mixes it up and says it's like vomit. And she sticks like nickels down there. And she's like, all right, guys, like come and get it. Like, what was she trying to do with that? I don't understand.
Yeah, this was wild. This was almost like she's like, I'm doing a social experiment. I'm going to see just how greedy the human condition is. I'm going to put nickels at the bottom of this pot of vomit and see how many kids are willing to stick their hands in it. Akiva, did we learn anything?
Well, I'll say a couple things. Like, this is the first episode 7, where there's a few scenes that are just like really background exposition that would not be in a busier episode like episode 5 or 6. Like, no way would have made the cut, but maybe they had less meat on the bone this episode. With Sophia, she won the first ever gold star. So she's essentially playing with house money the rest of the season. And like, who cares? They could kick her off the show. What does she care? She already got her 20 grand.
Mm-hmm.
So it is funny that Sophia is like, yeah, I'm just going to like, and she's also like the oldest girl there, I think. Like, I'm just going to do whatever I want and make these kids like go, scavenging for 10 cents. It's pretty funny.
A lot of kids were into it, Phil.
Yeah, like reaching in vomit. Yeah, and they bought it, actually. They thought it was vomit. And, they're able to get their little money. Another thing in this is, she talks about how, like, she put in the rotting vegetables in there, which means the vegetables have already gone bad. So you maybe should have gotten the Dune buggies. That's all I'm saying, Why
didn't anybody just dump out the pot of vomit and then find the nickels?
Yeah, I don't think these kids were really...
Yeah.
They should have done that, yeah.
Okay. All right. So we go back to Devad. Devad, we learn, is the richest lady in town because she is the potato cooker. First off, back to the children in danger. Devad has been scalded by burning hot oil. She has marks on her face from where the oil has splashed Devad in the face. But, she's just the working lady in town.
Yeah, actually, this is I remember this was like one of the biggest issues at the time because, so basically after this happened and Devad went home, her mom saw like the scars on her face and she like freaked out and sued CBS. And she said like, she called like an investigation for like abusive acts to minors and like violations of child labor laws, all this stuff. And this stuff came out like before the season came out. And so this was already like a big lawsuit that was going on before the first episode. So I think that played a big part in the show getting canceled.
Could have given her a gold star, town council. Would have smoothed over some of those lawsuits, I think.
Something.
I think they went the other way. It's a good point, Phil. I think they went the other way, which is they showed Devad specifically, and I think Mike or one of the people who did a Reddit AMA a bunch of years ago actually had this take, which was they specifically show the otherwise irrelevant scene of like her cooking potatoes for 10 minutes, which has no bearing, and she's one of the more minor characters in the first 6 episodes. Just to show that she got oil on her, and she's like, oh. And she specifically says like, oh, it's no big deal. I feel like the lawyers put that scene in just to absolve them of any guilt, which is very funny. That's literally what a kid on the show said that was the word on the street.
Wow. But yeah, the lawsuit didn't go through. CBS won or whatever. So
yeah. Akiva, that I know that your daughter likes to cook. I mean, if you sent her to Kid Nation and she came back with oil burns, that are you furious about this, or you say, hey,
my wife would go.
You want to make an omelet
on CBS?
Yeah,
they have no idea what would.
All right. We have a challenge where we're going to shoot eggs out of a slingshot, catch them in a pillow. Somehow Blue has a system for this. It's a lot of who cares, right, Akiva?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I do like that they have, like, there is a team element to these challenges where if you don't get above X, and I think in this one it's like 75 or whatever the number is, that there's no team reward. But they really keep sort of messing up the numbers, where I believe every single episode so far, except for maybe one, they have passed the task, right? Like they almost always get the bonus.
I think they want that to get the bonus.
Yeah, but why make it the rule if they're never going to fail?
They did fail once.
They did fail in the first one. You're right.
Yeah.
Just to give it, I think probably like that, like a little bit of the extra incentive because otherwise the final team would just be like, who cares? Like, I'm just going to give up.
Yeah.
I will say though, just to give a shout out to Mallory. Mallory was killing it in that showdown. She was like on rebound, like Wilt Chamberlain or something like that. Like she was catching them, but she was awesome. I just want to give a shout out.
Yeah.
Mallory,
there's not a lot of talk of challenge beasts. That would be interesting to see, like, who are the actual challenge beasts in this show.
Yeah.
Sometimes like the teams with the younger people like do well. Sometimes it's not really based on like who.
They're
is the
talking
big
about Greg and Blaine have been dominant in some of the challenges, but not always. Anjay, they said, had a system also in this one.
We were talking about earlier, also just like, in the challenge prior, I just want to just say this, like Anjay was talking about how like, oh, I'm not good in the challenges because my bones aren't they're still forming. Like he was complaining about that. Like I'm sure he used that a lot in his regular life. Oh, I can't. Sorry, my bones are still forming. I can't. What does that even mean?
Wasn't Anjay, I think he was like, there's a couple kids here who like went to college when they were like 15. So maybe he's like always dealing with bigger kids. So even though here he's like in the middle ground, right, in terms of age, he's used to dealing with like being the little guy in school or something.
All right. We have, I think, maybe our dumbest decision yet here, because we have the choice between, as Jonathan calls it, he says, well, let's talk money laundering. It's about money for your laundry. Okay, so they could either have washing machines that cost 20 cents, or they could all get new clothes, and then they get like a different version of like some home washing machine. Akiva, am I crazy to say that they should have just picked the washing machines and the dryer?
Well, I think they were nervous about the expense. I think the kids want to spend their money on candy and stuff. They were nervous about the expense. They figured like, all right, we don't do the wash anyway. The three teams that aren't doing the laundry, like that's the problem of the laborers. But first of all, you said the dumbest decision. The dumbest decision was, no offense, the religious books. When every single kid was anti-religion.
Yeah, was like it or pizza? Was that what it was up against?
No, it was mini golf. They could have played mini golf.
Yeah, mini golf.
Yeah, and like every single kid was like, religion is the root of all evil. Yes, we need the Bible and the Quran and the Torah. Like, what? There was no reason why they chose that. Every single kid was anti-religion. Not one kid showed up to the
But here's
my
take on the washer and the dryer. That you're telling me each kid has a whole load of laundry to do? Like, get 4 kids, everybody throwing a nickel, and just get your clothes washed in the dryer.
Yeah. I think they'll have like 2 shirts, right? Because don't they give them like a new shirt as part of it? Like how much clothes? They don't have like a full suitcase, do they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also just the fact that, 20 cents is a lot, for like the laborers get paid like what is like 10 cents an hour. So like, or not an hour, a week. So, or is it a day? I don't remember. But like they'd have to spend more than they're actually allotted to like, I feel like they should have lowered, in order to make it a fair comparison, they should have lowered the amount of money. Like it should have been like 5 cents or 10 cents to kind of give them some kind of choice or option. But for me, it seemed like a no-brainer for the other side, Rob, where it was like, let's still get an upgraded like laundry machine. It's better than actually hand washing it. I know Nathan was upset, but everyone else kind of loves the new, like, they have to like hand push or whatever this laundry. And they get new clothes. Like, come on, like pick that one.
Okay. They're going to pick the new clothes and the, more advanced washing machine. And Mike seems happy about this. It's pumped up.
It's a new workout.
Yeah. All right. So we see Jared with a magnifying glass. It's unclear what he's doing. it looks like that he's going to maybe kill some ants, but apparently he is like etching like the power of the sun into wood, and he sets up shop. I don't know how he did this so quickly, but he's opened up like a whole Etsy store, Akiva, of necklaces for people to wear in Bonanza City. Were you impressed with Jared from earlier in the episode when he flipped over Devad's storefront to now he is ready to run his own complete entrepreneurial enterprise?
Yeah, first of all, Jared's like the king of getting a storyline in every episode. Like, we have all these people, like Devad in this episode who we've never seen before. Who knows if we're ever going to see her again. Like, they have their one episode. Jared is like Taylor. Like, every episode has some Jared. Mm-hmm. He mentions the idea of the necklace. 12 seconds later, he's like peddling them on the street and no one's interested. 30 seconds after that, he's somehow richer than Bill Gates because people have bought them. I feel like this was the entire 40 days condensed into like 11 seconds here of him like going from nobody wants his necklaces to everyone bought for all of their siblings. And supposedly he was selling the rest on eBay and making money afterwards.
Wow. Oh, really? Look at Jared.
That's what Wikipedia says.
Wow. Check out Jared after that he realizes that things are really turning up Jared.
Holy banana bread! I made $2.90 off of my necklaces. I have a bonfire in my pocket, and it's burning to be spent.
I have a bonfire in my pocket.
Do you think all the ladies who bought from Jared, they went home?
He went to
like,
Jared. Oh, my God.
To Jared.
Oh, look at this.
Wow.
He went to Jared.
Thanks for stealing my joke.
If there was a Kid Nation proposal, they would have to go to Jared to get a necklace.
Somebody post on Taylor's Instagram on the wedding proposal. Like, he went to Jared.
Please let us know. I think she likes him. I don't think she's like against the Kid Nation.
Holy banana bread. That's another good caption for that picture. Yeah.
Bonfire in my pocket. That's definitely one of those sentences that you start with an idea and then you kind of just have to finish it.
Yeah.
Maybe the producers gave him a line and he forgot it and they're like, all right, we'll use it. It's okay.
Yeah. Akiva, say to your wife tonight that you have a bonfire in your pocket.
I'll be on the couch.
Phil, have you ever heard the phrase holy banana bread before?
No. Not even holy bananas.
Holy banana bread!
Yeah. Now, I wonder if those were like his holy texts that he was thinking of, like that they didn't include in the challenge. I don't know. So
yeah, maybe they should have done religious texts or holy banana bread. Akiva, did you weigh in on banana bread?
No, I don't have. I mean, I like banana bread, but I didn't have a take on the banana bread in the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just wanted to know if there was, I know you're a pie guy. It's more of like a fruit cake.
Yeah, I like banana bread. I wish, if anybody's listening in my house, I wish someone would make me banana bread once in a while. But I don't really encounter it enough.
Bread.
I like
it. Yeah. You mentioned also more Bill Gates love from Jared.
I'm the Bill Gates of Bonanza City, people are saying.
Nobody's saying that. Yeah. Nobody's saying that Jared is the Bill Gates of Bonanza City.
Is Bill Gates still like the catch-all for like rich
guy?
Person, or is it now Jeff Bezos? And now is it Elon Musk? Like this week since he passed Jeff Bezos.
Oh yeah, I because when I was a kid, like when I was their age, it was definitely Bill Gates. That was who we were all talking about. But
unfortunately for Bill Gates, that is not the number one thing that he gets associated with. Is his immense wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
people bring him up on other things, which is regrettable.
Yeah. I wonder if Greg has opinions on Bill Gates right now or not. Well, yeah, we'll see.
I hope not. I hope not.
I think Gylon probably has the best Bill Gates opinion.
Then after this, okay, so you see Jared, he's got to figure out how to spend his money. He's got $2.90. And Akiva, I feel like that we see the wildest thing we've seen yet on Kid Nation, because that Jared makes some insane choices for how to spend his money.
Yeah, I was like, oh, wow, he could probably get such cool stuff. And then, smash cut to him getting like the 10 worst things in the store. What does he buy?
I don't know. He comes out and he's looking like Kramer in the Technicolor Dreamcoat. Here is Jared walking through the streets of Bonanza City.
Hey, Miguel.
Hey, Dad.
You look good. Thanks. I love this city, don't you?
Phil,
yeah.
Did they make a 8-year-old kid out to be a pimp?
Yeah, similarly to, how Sophia was dancing in the streets episode 1, I definitely think this was the producers being like, yo, like, put this into this kid. Like, Jared does not know what a pimp is.
Did they dress Jared like this?
They absolutely did.
The music choice is unbelievable. His clothing choice, again, clearly either them telling him to buy the stuff or him just being so obsessed with getting on camera. I mean, there's people like who literally never have speaking roles. Like, who's Madison? We don't. I don't think we've seen them. Who's Brett? I don't think Brett ever speaks during the course of the show. Meanwhile, Jared's getting 6 segments a week. It's pretty wild.
So, would you be more upset if your kid came home from Kid Nation with bodily harm, like Devad, or if you found out that the producers of this show dressed your son up as a pimp?
Yeah, I'm going to get the pimp at it, Mom and Dad. Don't be mad. I was okay with it. They asked for my permission. I said I'm fine dressing up like Kramer from, Seinfeld and being a pimp.
I do like just how much Jared is like, his story arcs are never like around the camp and like the improvement of the town or like the improvement of the community. It's always kind of Jared has his weird solo missions that no one else is really on. Yeah. And he's just going to be able to doing his thing and they'll just capture it.
Akiva, that's why I felt like that Jared, like, did they just get his whole story in pickups where it's like, hey, we need some a more cute kid to spice up the show. And they just did like one day of reshoots with Jared.
That's a great point. Yeah. They called up his parents like, we'll get you a private jet. Yeah. You could come. We just need to film like 12 hours with Jared doing stupid things because we're short on episodes like 4, 6, and 7. That's a good call.
Yeah. He's the Jonathan Lipnicki of the aughts. Did you know the human head weighs 8 pounds?
Yeah. Jared's also hard to Google. He's got a pretty generic name, but like, I am curious if Jared grew up to be like a big nerd or if he's normal now.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure, not that many people have track of him. I don't think he did any, he never did any interviews or anything like that. So who knows where he is right now?
Akiva, are you ready for King of the Jareds on RAANAP?
Oh no. That's more of a 32 fan idea.
Okay. All right. Let's then go back to Gold Star talk. We see some more with Nathan that Greg ends up apologizing to Nathan, which, Phil, I don't know if the producers prompted this or what, but an about face from Greg.
Yeah, it was very bizarre to see, because, all Greg does, Greg finds the weak one and he picks on them. Like, he never had, any, heart-to-heart with Mike or anything like that. I guess he just maybe felt bad just because, Nathan isn't actually out there to hurt a soul. Like, Nathan's not trying to prove anything or show anything. Nathan's just being Nathan. But it was one of the few touching moments we had with Greg, where he's not talking about college.
He's very hot and cold, Greg.
Yeah.
Nicest kid, the worst kid. Okay. Yeah. But who's getting the gold star? And Devad comes up with something that we do not see normally on Kid Nation. This is like something that you see driving around Los Angeles around award season. She starts up with the billboards for your consideration. Mm-hmm. Devad for the gold star.
Variety in the Hollywood Reporter.
Yeah, she's taking out some ads to say, hey, how about Devad for the gold star?
She's campaigning for 4 people. It's not like it's a widespread vote. You know what I mean? I guess people come in and say stuff, but it's really just to 4 people. Why is she doing this? I think also the fact that Devad's whole episode arc has been she's making money on the side, it's probably not a good look to just also be asking for $20,000 when you're already kind of making your
She's
your
the richest woman in Bonanza City.
She is actually the Bill Gates of Bonanza City. That's what I would say.
She's a hardworking hustler. I mean, she's been scalded by the oil. Does not stop her from preparing snacks, Akiva, to hand out to the people as they were going in. She gets accused of bribery. She's like, no, I'm just being nice and handing out potatoes to people.
That's what people do. Yeah, I don't know if first of all, do they always get to wait on this insanely long 36-person line and pitch their cases? Because I don't think we've seen it much, where they're all waiting outside the sort of like little warehouse where the town council is meeting, and they get to basically nominate a person. We haven't seen too much of that, but here she's just like going up and down that line and telling people who to nominate her.
Yeah, I feel like they do. They probably just don't show it every episode, but yeah, because just get a list of kids being like this person, this person.
It's always
this
so
person.
cold
Also,
when they're waiting on the line. You see like their breath always.
What was Devon? Because she was bringing out, she had the potatoes, but then she had some kind of like tomato sauce, or like, where's she getting this sauce? I don't know, or if it was, I don't even know if it was sauce, if it was ketchup. I was confused. And
maybe it was
no
ketchup
one was eating
for the French fries, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, something. I guess.
Just handing it all out. I like they get Devad in there and they say, Devad, who do you think deserves it? Well, I have to say me.
Yeah, we got that. I don't remember earlier in the show we were talking about someone doing the same thing, and I just never think that's a good look. It's not a good campaign
Greg did
strategy.
it earlier in the season.
Yeah, he said he wanted it for himself. Yeah, like I think Mallory had the perfect answer, where she was like, everyone should get the money and I would share it equally with everyone. Like, just Devon saying, it's for me, I want the money. Like, I think I earned it. Like, all right, who are you, Devon?
Yeah.
Come on.
Akiva, did you look up Devad? What is she doing now? Does she own a business?
I remember some of these kids, especially the younger ones, are like, just finishing college now.
Mm-hmm.
So Devad's like 23, 24. I think she called herself a health informatist. I don't know what that is. Information technology. Health IT.
Okay. Don't eat too many fried potatoes, maybe.
Probably. She probably is like, yeah, don't. And when you do, don't burn yourself.
Stay away from the oil. Okay. So we're still trying to figure out who to give it to. Greg is going to push for Nathan. He's not the coolest kid here, but he gets bullied and he works hard.
Yeah, I mean, like, it seems like Nathan has been working hard from the beginning. Like, he's not that great television, so it makes sense why we haven't seen him. But I guess, Nathan has been putting in the work, I don't know who Nathan's real friends are in the game or in the show. So it seems like he's just kind of been putting all his energy on working instead of building the relationship. So it also makes sense why Greg was the only person to actually nominate him.
Yeah. All right, one more town council. And the new core four, they've got 100% approval. Everybody's liking them. Even Mike likes being a laborer. Nobody is bagging on Taylor here for the first time at one of these town councils. Although Greg has to throw Devad under the bus. Greg hates Devad, Phil.
People are just like mad that like Devad just is spending all day frying potatoes. Like why not? I guess no, Devad, and also in the town council, she's like, well, like I don't just fry potatoes. I do other work too.
Yeah.
I did some laundry with Jasmine at that one time, and Jasmine was like looking at her like, we never did laundry together.
Yeah. Akiva, I love fried potatoes.
Yes, they actually looked very good. I would have definitely eaten those.
Why is everybody mad at the one girl that wants to fry potatoes all day?
It's 5 cents.
Yeah.
Just, buy them or don't buy
them. Okay. But sadly for Devad, she does not get the gold star. It's Nathan. What an upset. Akiva, could you believe it?
Yeah, this is, like we said, the biggest upset so far. And you wonder if the people who like sort of lose, because it felt like early on, like the person who would be like the second vote, like the person who sort of came in second place would get it the next time.
Yeah.
So hopefully Devad will get it, next time. But Nathan was a big shocker, but maybe they're like appeasing these kids to make them stay. Maybe it's like, all right, Nathan, you're going to leave. We'll give it to you. Same thing with DK so? Last week. I don't know. Maybe that's how it worked.
They bribed Nathan to stay.
Possible. Yeah. Not that Nathan's such great TV.
he was not. Nathan puts a call into his mom, and and sister can't believe it either.
No one can.
They gave it to you, Nathan? Wow.
Yeah.
That's shocking.
Between, Devad, Nathan, and, Pharaoh, like who would you guys have given the gold star to? Because this one kind of seemed like there was no real answer. Like, I don't know why Nathan. I guess Nathan does work, but is that it? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know who I would give it to.
Pharaoh was the obvious choice. I think Devad's business probably disqualifies her this week, and Nathan didn't really. And they kept talking about how Nathan is unlikable and weird and different, but they didn't really explain it other than that he's homeschooled. Does he smell bad? What does he have bad breath? What is exactly so negative about Nathan that he's so different from everybody else? He's the most different person there.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't really explain that, but I definitely would have given it to Pharaoh. They really made it seem like it was a layup, and again, we didn't know. Maybe he was. A lot of these people were clearly campaigning at this point for the $20,000. I'm sure.
Okay. Let's take some questions from the listeners. We've had a thread in the Rob is a Podcast patron Facebook group for these episodes. Let me ask a couple of these questions. Mel Hurst wants to know, what was worse, Taylor dumping out the water buckets or Jatia pouring rice on the fire?
I mean, I would probably say Jatia dumping out the rice, just because, no one expected Taylor to do anything anyways. We all knew, this water that Taylor was carrying, it was not for the team. It was just a punishment, and even Taylor couldn't follow through on that, which is just perfectly Taylor.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I recently watched that episode. That's one of the episodes that's on Netflix right now. I recently watched that. That's a bigger moment than Taylor, who has many moments, but that is Jatia's signature moment on the show, dumping out the rice. But Jatia could have added a deal with it at the end of it, and it would have been even bigger.
Yeah, she would have come back if that happened, if she said deal with it.
Yes. Okay. Emma wants to know, has anybody read Olivia's book she recently wrote about Kid Nation? I just bought it. Phil, have you read Olivia's book?
I was just getting to it, and there's nothing I would want more. Is it just about, is it about Kid Nation? Is it about her life?
I don't think it's her memoir.
I think it's mostly about Kid Nation. I was on her Instagram. It says I wrote a book about, when she first wrote it, it's a pamphlet. It's 216 days. And I wrote it,
is it all
during the pandemic.
Anti-Anjay propaganda?
It might be. I would like to hear Emma's review. You said Emma bought it. I would like to hear a review for next week's show. Let us know the 5 or 10 bullet points of the book. What are the interesting things we missed? Because even Wikipedia doesn't have the stuff about her book. Clearly nobody bought it, because some of the other sort of articles and stuff, have filled in blanks, but nobody has really gotten to it. So be the first person to read it.
Chris Snyder wants to know, what are the odds that the pigs probably pooped in the beans pool? 150 million %.
That's why they added the beans, so they wouldn't be visible on camera, right?
Yeah. That's what I think too. We had Alex digging in it, oh man, this is disgusting.
I mean,
shouldn't they just forfeited the challenge? Shouldn't they forfeit the challenge and be like, you know what? I'll be a laborer this week. Doing your laundry for a week is much less gross than this. What's the best case scenario here?
Maria Perez wants to know, Phil, is there anything about the show that you remember reacting more strongly to as a kid?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I guess it was that cave thing that I remember, really being oh man, this is really scary. And I guess not reacting. I remember very few things, but I remember Taylor being the biggest, Taylor was the most evil person I've ever seen in my entire, I've never, I didn't know that much about the world. So Taylor was the ultimate root, she was the root of all evil over greed. But I think that even translates, to now. I don't know if there wasn't that much that when I was a kid, I kind of thought the show was more normal than I didn't actually really consider how absurd and how terrifying and how poorly conceived the show was,
Akiva, did you watch this in the real time, or did you watch it at some point in between when it aired and now?
I watched it in the real time, but I didn't watch every episode from what I remember. I think I definitely started. I don't think I made it all the way to the end.
All right.
I agree. Taylor is not even 1% as evil of a character as people probably remember.
Yeah.
I remember also the chicken murdering too. That was really crazy. Yeah.
Okay. From earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Then we got this question from John. All right. Are you ready for this, Akiva?
Please.
Okay. John wants to know, which kid is Akiva-like and can't do easy chores?
Can I say Taylor, who, like, it's not that I can, it's that I won't?
Yeah. Your shoes are untied. Deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Deal with it. That's what I say to everyone who wants me to do stuff.
Okay. How about, strategically speaking, is diving headfirst into the beans actually helpful, from Nick Fishman?
I'm surprised he didn't hit his head. Like, I didn't know it was that deep. Like, he really went in there. Like, I mean, it's Greg, so it's like, you know, I'm sure he's not, I don't know. I'm sure it didn't hit him that much, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
David Schwartz wants to know, could Akiva survive as well as the kids on Kid Nation? Akiva, would you have been a helpful part of the community?
A grown-up Akiva. You're saying now I go there and I'm like the one grown-up. Yeah, I think, I mean, I can do the dishes. I would help out there. I'm not above doing manual labor. There, you know, there's things I'm not good at.
Would the kids be able to wake you up?
It would be a big problem. I would be like, I will do my chores, but I'm doing them starting at 11 a.m., not your ridiculous 6:30. Yeah, I agree.
Akiva, you're going to lose sunlight.
Yeah.
Do you think you would be able to persuade the kids to give you the gold star?
I think because I'd set the bar so low, and then one week I'd like really be like the eighth most helpful person on the team, and they'd give it to me. They'd be like, "Wow, big improvement from Akiva this week. Like last week, he overslept the Showdown, and he missed it completely."
Yes. How do you think the phone call would go when you phone home to Mara?
It's like, "Hey, Mara, you know, I won a gold star. It's worth $20,000." She'd be like, "All right, you're gonna need it."
Which team would you have been on, do you think?
Which color, or would I have been like a labor?
Which group of kids do you think you would have been with?
Oh, I think I like the yellow team.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm a fan of the yellow team. Greg would have bullied me.
Would you take orders from Zach?
Well, I think Zach, who's in the Jew crew, I probably get along better with him than Taylor. Taylor really would have just like read me to filth. She would have rocked me, Taylor.
Deal with it. Yeah. All right. Then let's see. One last question from Nick Fishman. The Jared pimp outfit scene ranks as my favorite moment of the show. Where does it rank for the panel? Phil, does that stand out for you as your favorite moment of the series?
It's definitely not, but it's just like one of those small little nuggets that is just like, you know, it's total producer manipulation, but that's also what makes the show great. I'd definitely say it's a small little moment. I'd say it's like maybe top 20. There's some good moments in this show. There's a lot of big ones.
Okay. Akiva, anything else you want to say about Kid Nation?
No, I wasn't like super I was looking forward to the podcast, but like I thought we'd like just be dunking on the show. Mm-hmm. But there are definitely good parts of the show. I really do like Kid Nation. I am going to sort of finish it with you guys and listen to the podcast.
Oh, great.
And I really I enjoyed my binge today. You know, I think it's time to bring Kid Nation back. I think you could do it now.
You think so?
Maybe like ultimately like the parents have to be on site. You know what I mean? Like they do on MasterChef Junior. It's not realistic to have 40 kids, like, and I think they like legally call themselves a summer camp to get away with it because otherwise the kids are working and they can't be acting. This is like such a scam.
Because my take the whole way through has been they could never do this now.
Right. So I think they'd have to do it with a lawyer approval. But I think the show would be good and my kids would love it.
If the parents are there though, then like, where's the drama? Like, where's the are the parents also living in Bonanza City?
No, I think they're not interacting with them, but I think it's like they're like for legal purposes. Maybe there's like an hour of school a day. The fact that they did this, like Phil mentioned, during the school year is so crazy that they're like that because you're also like self-selecting like the biggest loser families in the world that would like let their kids do this for $5,000 versus like in the summer, at least every kid is available. You're saving money. Like I was going to, you know, my kid was going to stay home all day after send him to camp, get a babysitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Akiva, did you learn anything interesting about any of the kids that we haven't touched on in your research?
I really researched the main ones. It doesn't seem like I think they're pretty well adjusted. Like there are some child prodigies. I think Anjay is one of the big tech places like Google. I think that there was no like disasters really of the kids I found. There's nobody who's like a complete nightmare and has a rough go of it in life. So that was impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think like after the show, like CBS did kind of have like a lot of like psychology, like they had like therapists talking to the kids and helped them just go navigate kind of back into normal
life.
Let's
hope. I'm sure that's what they were supposed to do, but I'm not that confident that that's what they did.
Yeah. It's been a wild ride through Bonanza City. We still have 2 episodes of this podcast left to go. Next time out, we will cover episodes 8, 9, and 10 of Kid Nation, and then we will have this all wrapped up by the final week of January, where we will talk about episodes 11, 12, and 13 on the RHAP Rewind, looking back at Kid Nation. Phil, anything else you want to say about these episodes?
Not that much. I would just say, like, you know, now we're kind of getting into a little bit of the slog, but also like this is where we're still going to get a lot of exciting moments, but this is where the kids are kind of getting used to the show, and they're kind of like getting just more and more frustrated and pent up, and it's exciting. I'm excited to cover the next few episodes. We're going to see some interesting stuff.
All right, Phil, I know that you are always watching new movies and rating them. Do you have any recommendations for the audience?
I'm trying to think. I'm so late on stuff. I just watched this. I watched Chernobyl for the first time. I don't know if probably everyone's already seen it, but if no one has, you know, brilliant show. It's an amazing show. That's kind of the big thing I've been working on right now. Yeah,
what's a more depressing show, Chernobyl or Kid Nation?
Oh, absolutely, Kid Nation. Like, there's no doubt. It's definitely like, come on, like.
Would you rather be burned by like radioactive fire or jump in those beans and pig poop?
Oh man, why didn't they do like a Chernobyl themed like episode of Kid Nation or something?
All right, kids, you have a choice. You can have a nuclear power plant right in Bonanza City, or Pop-Tarts. One will run Bonanza City for 10,000 years. The other is a quick filling breakfast.
Has that guy worked since then?
No,
I didn't really
not
look
on
him
camera.
up.
Not on camera. That's it.
Like, okay. I think that's it for him.
Yeah. Akiva, host of 3.5 podcasts. What else is going on in Akiva Nation?
Fun episode of NGOG this week. We're almost at the end of season 1.
What do you think about Akiva Nation, like Kid Nation?
Yeah, we could do Akiva Nation. How would that work? I invite like 40 people.
I was just saying that could be like your followers.
Oh, yeah, my followers are part of Akiva Nation.
But let's pitch the reality show, Akiva Nation. 40 people. Is it adults? Or?
Yeah, let's make it adults. 40 people. Yeah, there's like 10 nappers, 10 people who are always on the internet, 10 people who are like almost always eating.
Are those like the ranks in society where it's like the people that come in first place? Those are the nappers.
Yeah, the nappers.
So none of them do work or whatever. They're just like, if you'll be on the napping team, and
you nailed it. None of them do work. That is true. Podcasting, I guess, is work technically. That's right. Rob and Akiva need a podcast. Last week we did RAANAP X. This week we're going to be watching Kazam or Shazam. I never remember which one. The movie with Shaquille O'Neal, with our buddy Third Wheel Zach, and
we're watching Kazam,
the Mandela Effect movie.
Shazam is a different genie movie.
Okay, well that's the Mandela Effect movie. It doesn't exist.
I know. I like to pretend that it's real.
Oh, it might be real. It's just not on IMDb. And 32 Fans, we did football picks, and we also
Sinbad
on the Patreon cast did we ranked the movie. We ranked the months of 2020, which we had been meaning to do. From
okay,
we ranked the 12 months of 2020.
Yeah.
And Chester's like logic was much different than mine. It was like, well, like some like C-list celebrity died, so like you have to move this down. Whereas for me, it was just like, was I trapped in my home like mildly stuck?
Was
or,
it
like,
for you personally or for the world?
Well, he did it for the world. Like, well, this was an impeachment. Like, for me, it was like, no, March has to be the worst because like March Madness was canceled and I was not legally allowed to leave my house. So
very subjective.
Yeah, wait, was it like best in terms of like what? Wait, yeah, was it like what was best? Like,
become
what is best
a 32 Fans patron, Phil, if you want to find out.
No, the best. I think the best month of the year was very easy, Phil. It was January and February, like the ones where we didn't know what was going to hit us.
But
like
which was 1 and 2? Like which was 1, which was 2?
I think February probably beat
just give
January.
It away.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, for people, like I think Kobe died in January. Like, the whole year was bad. Like, don't think there was a good month in there. But, yeah, January and February, at least we had a little bit of fun. We got to leave our house. You saw human beings.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And what's going on at NGOG?
We're almost done with season 1. We're really flying through. Only 2 more years, and we'll be done with the whole series.
Okay. All right. Great stuff. Having a lot of fun here on the Kid Nation rewatch. That we are going to be back next week. Of course, if you missed episodes 1 or 2 and want to go back and listen, you go to robbinswebsite.com/KidNation1 or KidNation2 for episode number 2 of this series. I am also doing our countdown of the top 40 all-time Survivor seasons. This week we talked about the 39th best season of all time, Survivor Redemption Island. I will tell you why it is the 39th best season, but it's not because of Boston Rob. Check it out as we talked about it with Frail Mary Kwiatkowski, and Jason Reed on the all-time season countdown this week. And next week we'll talk about the 38th best season of Survivor. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast, of course, and thank you to all the support of the Robbins Podcast patrons. Find out more about everything we're doing in our patron podcast feed and everything else at robbinswebsite.com/patron. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.